Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back from ooh, what's that noise? Hold on. Did you guys hear that horrible noise? I don't know. I don't know what that horrible noise is, but I hope it goes away. Um, Welcome back. Hope you guys had a nice lunch or dinner or nap or dog walk or relaxation. I personally had a little lunch and tried to cram in a little Survivor season 46. Real intense battle going on right here. Had to pause that until after the Telus trial. So we are now preparing for the afternoon session of the Robert Telus. It's hard to know which is the proper pronunciation. Um, I would think it would be Tellez, but what do I know? Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? All right, so still paused here. They're not back. They haven't even put up the seal yet. Yeah, there's a lot of seasons, Stu. A lot of seasons of. I was trying to convince my 18-year-old Cameron to apply for Survivor. I think she'd do well. I think she'd be pretty good. She's very athletic, very bright. I think she'd be good at the social game and the strategy game. So tell us, Spanish is Teus. Yeah, I don't know. I realize that. His lawyer calls him Tellus. So I don't know. It's hard to know. It's hard to know. Unless I hear the guy saying it himself. That's, but like if you're in Italy, my name is pronounced Mota. Mota. Oh, Roberto Mota, you come here. We give you some nice Christmas cake. Say it here, it's bastardized Amata, which everybody mispronounces as Moda. So super annoying. Oh, Spit hates on the Survivor. I feel the opposite. I like that show a lot. I think it's pretty good. I think Alone might be worse than Survivor in terms of taking advantage of people. I don't know though. I mean, it's a big win. It's a big win. If you win it, it's $1 million. After taxes, probably like 700,000, some shit like that. Yeah, that's probably the safe bet. I often go with the. Let's see what we got here. I want to make sure that I'm. Yeah, they don't even have the thing up yet. Screen. All right. So, what are the odds the judge comes back on time, which is 6 minutes? I'm going to give it very low odds that she starts timely. She doesn't seem to be overly concerned with timing. Like that's not her. It's not her jam. I don't think. I think she likes to take her time. She runs her court as she sees fit. She's on her own clock. You would think with the jury, though, she might be a little more cognizant. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah, the Squid Games. That was weird. That was the actual competition. Admittedly, I watched it. Yeah, I mean it's. I like Survivor though. I like the social aspect of the game. I really do. I think it's interesting. So but I'm a sociology major, so that kind of shit's fascinating to me. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm not gonna stop watching it, even though I highly, highly respect you, Spitfire. All right, so while we're waiting to come back, I thought I'd keep reading the jury instructions for murder. We left off with, and again, I pulled this from Seeking Justice, the phenomenal, outstanding, comprehensive Discord channel that Dizzy and Tracy have put together. The thing is, it's next level. It's like I think when they were inventing Discord, like this particular channel is exactly what they had in mind on how it could be optimized. It's pretty impressive. It's well done, ladies. It's just a cornucopia of information that's super impressive. All right, so I left off with them. So they started off with the Diz, keep an eye on the stream for me if you would. You know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep it up. I'm going to share it so that it's like frozen on a picture of Casper, which is unsettling. It's unsettling. So let me get live here. Boop. He's Casper, the creepy ghost, the creepy ghost, the creepy ghost. All right. So we've got that up. All right. So I'm going to read. So remember, I read you the actual kind of the degrees of murder, and then we were getting into what how they. It's very well written. It's very artfully written. I enjoy their statute writing in Nevada. So malice aforethought, as used in the definition of murder, means the intentional doing of a wrongful act without legal cause or excuse, or what the law considers adequate provocation. The condition of mind described as malice aforethought may arise not only from anger, hatred, revenge, or from particular ill will, spite, or grudge toward the person killed, but may also result from any unjustifiable or unlawful motive or purpose to injure another, which proceeds from a heart, this is the part I like, which proceeds from a heart fatally bent on mischief, or with the reckless disregard of consequences and social duty. So malice aforethought may be inferred from the intentional use of a deadly weapon, in a deadly and dangerous weapon, or deadly and dangerous manner. Aforethought does not imply deliberation or the lapse of considerable time. This is what I was telling you guys the other day. It only means the required mental state must precede rather than follow the act. Oh, look at this handsome bastard. What's up?
What's up, Bobby Digital?
What is up, J-Bo? How did it go?
I think it went really good, and then I almost cried on the way home. So, yin and yang. You know how it is.
I take it was an insurance industry gig. Was that what it was?
Yeah, working for a defense firm.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Don't worry, because I just took some Mojo microdose, psychedelic free. I will be making a video for these bad boys. It took about an hour ago, and
the mood enhancer. So we're gonna get to watch real time, kids.
This is natural UCC. This is like I'm already feeling right. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of was bummed, and I took this, and I'm feeling all right.
It's mushrooms, this is right.
It's non-hallucinogenic. It's psychedelic free. So it's lion's mane, cordyceps, ginseng, L-theanine, plus more. So
wow.
Also,
the secret's in the more. The secret's
also, Bobby, I got some new sunglasses from. Wait till you fucking see these.
Does your wife like these more than the last ones?
I don't know. She said she likes the other ones, but here we go. But for folks who didn't see other ones, they were a little. First of all, hilarious story. They're more. I don't know. The lenses aren't pink, but they're definitely like purplish pink. I don't know, whatever. And the boys are like, I like it, but they're kind of feminine. And I was like, so I tell my mom, and I'm like, Mom, she's like, I like them. I'm like, the boys say they're kind of feminine. She's like, oh, they kind of look like the ones from Elton John's line. I'm like, all right, Mom, I don't know what you really. I'm like, you're not giving a strong defense for them not being feminine. But anyway, so here are the new ones I got, and I'm gonna have to make a commercial for these bad boys. They're mass.
Yeah.
Look at these bad boys.
Yeah.
Because I'm a hashtag influencer.
Look at that. Look at you crushing the shades. Yeah, I mean, they kind of look like Jim McMahon used to wear some shades that look just like that, like all the time. Because apparently the story behind former Bears quarterback, Jim McMahon, the only quarterback that ever led us to a Super Bowl victory was that he had been poked in the eye when he was a young lad. And so that he had a real light sensitivity. So he always had to wear sunglasses. I was always like, I wonder if he's full of shit. I wonder if he just wants to wear shades all the time.
He's just hungover all the time.
Yeah, just constantly a constant state of hangoveredness. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna pop the shades on. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like when I'm in New Orleans for Jazz Fest, it's 24/7 shades, man. No one needs to see what's going on with my eyeballs, bro. Like, no one. So I'm like always behind the shades. Like if we're in a dark club at 1 a.m, got the shades on. No one needs to see the windows of the soul, brother. No one needs to see that at 1 a.m. You know what I mean? It's like, because like Allie says, nothing good happens after 2 a.m. It's gospel.
Facts.
It's gospel.
Facts.
So facts. So what else going on? What's good? What's good?
Nothing. What's going on with this jabroni? Has the state still going with their case?
Yeah. I think they're probably getting close to wrapping. I feel like they are, but I've been saying that for a day and a half now. So this has to be the last witness. And then they put another. The state, however, has been very efficient in terms of getting their case in chief on. There's no dilly-dallying. They get their witnesses on. They ask what they need to ask. They're done. The defense has been equally brisk in terms of cross-examinations. That, a lot of that comes from the fact that there's nothing that they can do or say that's going to mitigate the damage of the evidence that they put on. So they don't belabor the point. But they've pretty much gotten through the story. They've gotten the evidence in terms of the physical evidence, the cut up shoes, the cut up hat. We just had a forensic guy come on, and it was a guy or gal. I can't remember. I think it was a guy came on. This guy did a bunch of searched for Gehrman's home, searched for the vehicle he was driving, got his like date of birth, just creeping on the guy, like inexplicably. So, in my estimation, the prosecution's done a very nice job of the case.
Have they got in that he was being investigated and the workplace issues? They got all that stuff in.
Yeah, pretty much. And kind of what's nifty is that unlike what Lally did with Reed, where he put on that rebuttal case for weeks, it seemed like, kind of fronting what he knew was coming from the defense. This particular prosecution's team, which is also the same team that
Tommy Randolph.
Exactly.
Tommy.
Exactly. The Thommeister. Why they have this picture of Casper the creepy ghost like just plastered is unknown to me.
When I watched with Allie for I don't know, you were on Court TV. I'm like, let me hop on and help Allie out. And I'm like, I fucking hate this guy just based on the faces he was making within probably, I don't know how long I was on, maybe a half hour. I'm like, this guy's a fucking annoying douche.
Like we've come up with resting dick face is his.
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Dizzy made a pretty sweet little emoji. Got a big RDF across his forehead. It's nice. Accurate. Trapped.
Oh, nice. Good job, Dizzy.
Yeah. All right, there we go. All right. So we're good.
Thank you. You may call your next witness.
Oh, get the weird split screen.
So, Bob, when I was on, I said that I don't know if you know Billy Eichner. I felt like that guy looks like Billy Eichner, and the other guy kind of looks like Matthew Modine. The guy with the glasses, Billy, and the brown hair, Billy Eichner, and the other guy kind of gave me a Matthew Modine.
He's got a little Matthew Modine in him.
Stranger Things, older, obvious, not younger. Yeah. Matthew.
He's got some real like chiseled. What do you call those grin lines? Like they're not. What do they call
dimples?
Those? They're not dimples. Like his what are the where his cheeks, between his cheeks and his mouth, they're very pronounced. What do they call that? Like smile lines.
Smile lines.
Raise your right hand, face the court.
Very pronounced.
You do solemnly swear
Yeah, you missed a very
attractive,
the
whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God.
Yes, I do.
You may be
I mean, I don't see that type of thing since I've been married to Shannon, but I'll take your word for it.
My first name is Justine, Justine.
My last name is Gaddis, Gatus.
May I proceed? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you employed?
I am a homicide detective with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
How long have you worked for Metro total?
Man, they got a lot
Total
a lot of
17
women
years, and I've been a
detectives. I
detective
like
for
it.
12. I've been in the homicide section for 6.
Okay, so you were working in the homicide section on September the 3rd of 2022.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry,
ma'am.
Diz.
Can you describe for the members of the jury how it is
Thank you, Dizzy.
that homicide assignments for particular cases come about? Like, what is the rotation?
And that's exactly what it is. It's literally a rotation. We have 4 squads. There's 6 people on each squad, and it just goes through basically 12 different teams as the days go by. It's just whoever catches the next case.
So there's no way of knowing ahead of time when you're going to catch a particular homicide,
No, ma'am.
and it's random who's assigned to a particular case?
And it sticks in the
Does this rather lovely detective have a fleur de lis like around her neck? Is that what
That's
that
what it
is?
sure looks like it.
It sure does. Like, man, my respect level just skyrocketed even higher, Jay.
rotation form. Yeah.
Okay, so you had no way to pre-assign yourself to the investigation of Jeffrey Gehrman?
That's correct.
You just happened to be the team that was up on the 3rd?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you got that case, can you describe for the members of the jury how it is that detectives in homicide are notified to respond to a particular location?
So we get phone calls or texts actually pretty regularly. But that day in particular, it was I think probably just a text message. They send us an address and an event number, and that's it. We show up at the address, and then we get a briefing from the patrol
It's true,
officers.
Joe.
And they give us
It's true.
a general background of what they have so far with their preliminary investigation.
Okay, and so on the 3rd, you would have responded to Bronze Circle,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's 7216 Bronze Circle.
That is correct.
I'm putting on the overhead what's been admitted, State's Exhibit 4. Does that appear to be the location that you responded to?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you respond by yourself, or did other detectives come with you?
No, my team. We all go together as a team.
Okay, and the team would include like a
Real quick, sorry, Jay. What do you got? Is Sigfredo tonight? I'm trying to set up this portal, and I don't want to forget. Oh, Jay's not even here. I think Jay's got Sigfredo's jail convos tonight. So I'm gonna take a guess here. I think that's what he's got up tonight. So just so you all know, I'll be portaling you into Jay, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Sorry about that. Let's go.
lieutenant, a sergeant, and
That is correct.
and
If
you're-
there's 6 detectives that are available, all 6 of us go. Sometimes people are off or on vacation, but then our chain of command, so our sergeant and then our lieutenant.
Actually, I think
Okay.
it's a fleur de
and
lis.
when you first get there, I think you mentioned that you're briefed by patrol detectives. Is that correct?
Yes, on this one, it was patrol detectives who briefed us.
Okay.
Jay, I just want to confirm. I just portaled into Sigfredo's. Is that your live for tonight?
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Cool.
And then after you get a briefing, what do the homicide detectives do after that?
We pretty much assign jobs out. Being the lead case agent, we know our responsibilities, and that's basically to document the scene along with the crime scene analyst. The rest of the members of the team will have them go look for video surveillance, go try to find witnesses, just knock doors and see who can find to talk to.
Okay, so you were the primary.
Yes, ma'am.
So that meant you stayed at the scene with the crime scene analyst.
Yes,
When you walk, I assume at some point you walked the scene,
correct.
and did you go inside the house as well?
Yes, ma'am.
When you did sort of perimeter view of that scene, did you see any signs of forced entry or anything that caused you concern that the inside of that house might have been compromised?
No,
The scene's primarily on the left side of the house on the side yard?
the west side, yes.
Okay. When you went to the scene, I assume it was roped off by patrol officers
Crime scene tape was up, yes.
prior to your arrival?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm going to put on the overhead now State's Exhibit 10.
Oh, damn.
You recognize
Jeez.
that photo, I assume?
Yes, ma'am.
Was
And
not.
that's
Oh my
Mr.
God.
I was
Gehrman,
not prepared for
correct.
that.
Whoa,
as he appeared at the scene.
Either was
Yeah.
law and
when we get
crime,
there on the
clearly.
third.
What are you
Yes, ma'am.
doing?
Right.
Now, when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
arrived at the homicide
It's
scene,
the third
were you
time they've
familiar
done
with
that.
who he
Oh, really?
was?
No.
Yeah, first day.
Okay, did at some
Ugh.
point in the investigation, you learned that, oh, he's a local reporter and kind
Mhm.
of will know?
Yep. That day, actually, one of the neighbors told somebody on our squad or somebody in the patrol section that he was a reporter for the
Hopefully
RJ.
everybody
So we did
missed
know
that.
that day.
Okay.
I didn't even see it
and
till you said
when
something.
you
like,
observed
whoa.
Mr. Gehrman at the scene itself, did you take note of items of property that were on his person?
Yes, I did.
And what did you take? What was on him?
He still had his car keys. He had money. He had his phone. There was, most valuable things that people generally keep with them. He had.
Okay. And I'm putting on the overhead States 41. Does that appear to be the keys?
Yes, ma'am.
And his car was where at the scene?
It was in the garage.
Okay. And this is States 43. Can you tell what that is there?
I think is that part of the wallet?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is a better photo, States 46.
Yes.
And his wallet had cash in it.
Yes, it did.
And then I think you said he also had his phone on him as well.
Correct.
And this is States 40.
Yes, ma'am.
So all of his valuables are on his person. Is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
When you took note of him, though, I assume you're not touching the body and you're wearing gloves and that whole thing.
Right. We don't touch the body at all until the coroner investigators. That's their job.
Okay. But did you note or could you see that there were sharp force injuries or some type of injuries on his person?
Yes.
And that was probably readily apparent at the scene.
Yes.
I think you described that you don't touch the body until coroner investigators come to the scene as well.
Correct.
And they arrive because they have kind of concurrent jurisdiction with homicide detectives over an individual who has been murdered. Is that true?
Over any person, anybody that has died, the coroner investigators, they basically have jurisdiction over the body.
Okay.
We
so-
have the scene, but they have the human.
And so when they before homicide could move a body, the coroner's investigators have to arrive as well, and everybody has to kind of assess the scene.
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, though, obviously, an individual who's deceased is removed from the scene. Is that correct?
Correct.
May I push it, Ms. Sherman? Detective Gaddis, I'm showing you what's been marked as states proposed 352. Do you recognize that photo?
Yes, I do.
Does that appear to be a photo of the scene once Mr. Gehrman's body has been removed?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it a fair and accurate depiction?
Yes, it is.
State willing to admit 352.
No objection.
May I publish it, Your Honor? Thank you. I'm going to publish what's been admitted as states 352. Can you, I think there's a mouse in front of you. Can you just, it's probably obvious, but circle for the jury where it was that Mr. Gehrman's body was laying?
Well, so he was actually laying all the way across like this, but his upper torso area was over here with that dark.
Hey, y'all, just a real quick reminder. If you need to take care of yourself and your mental health, do not be afraid to pause, take a break, come back. We're getting into some gruesome testimony. And as Jay caught, I didn't even catch it. They had accidentally put up one of the more gruesome crime scene photos. So if you need to take a break, absolutely do that for yourself because it's important. So take care of yourselves out there, okay?
Absolutely.
Dark staining which was blood.
And that was blood.
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, while you stay at the scene with the crime scene analysts, are other detectives, I think you said, go and look for video in the area?
That is correct.
After you clear the scene and some video has been collected,
Thanks, Rafton.
does yourself and other detectives compile some information to be put out by Metro in a sort of a public information forum?
Yes, we did.
And do you recall what date it was that those images were released to the public?
The first date was Monday, the 5th of September, 2022. And then we did an additional press release the following day, which would have been, I think it was Tuesday, the 6th.
Okay,
Of
and those
2022.
would have included images of the suspect and also the suspect vehicle?
Correct.
Switch me over. And I'm going to show you a video. This has been admitted as states 338.
Set 350.
Yes.
Okay, let's not show it to us. Maybe.
Well, they just don't learn, huh? Oh, all
Oh,
right,
there's
so
the guy. There he is. There's the sombrero wearing landscaping man with plastic Nikes. And he's got a bag with a basketball and football, Jay. He's ready to play some sports.
Wait, really? What's in the bag? Is that what he says, or
When they found the bag in the garage, he had
oh, and that's what was
a
in it?
football and a basketball in there.
And do those appear to be the images, or
Sneaky.
at least some of the images that were used by Metro in conjunction with leasing information about the crime?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, after that was released, do yourself and other detectives get tips from the public, people saying who this might be?
Yes, we did. We received emails, phone calls. There was Crime Stopper tips that came in. We did receive many tips.
And did some of the tips suggest to you that you should consider Robert Tellis as a suspect?
That is correct.
After you get his name as a potential suspect, do you do some research with regard to his relationship to Jeffrey Gehrman?
Yes, I did.
And what do you find out, or what do you discover?
I found several articles that Jeffrey Gehrman wrote about Rob Tejas. They weren't flattering.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness? Thank you. Having shown defense counsel what's been marked as state's proposed 353, 353A, 353B, 353C, 353D, 353E, and 353F. Do you recognize all those items?
Yes, ma'am.
Do they depict some of the articles and social media commentary between Robert Tellis and Jeffrey Gehrman?
Yes, they are.
State moves to admit.
Is that like a special pencil so he doesn't like hurt himself? Like it looks like a
As that
weird
was
pencil.
previously addressed, we have no.
Or anyone else.
Thank you. I'm going to put on the overhead what's been admitted as states 353. Does that appear to be one of the articles that was written about Mr. Tellis by Mr. Gehrman?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was on May the 26th of 2022?
Correct.
Can you just read us the headline?
In a rare move, consultant hired to resolve turmoil in county office.
And I'm now going to put on the overhead states 353A. Appear to be another article.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the date on that one?
Is May 16th, 2022.
And what's the headline on that one?
County office in turmoil with secret video and claims of bullying and hostility.
And now I'm going to put on the overhead states 353B.
That one's dated June 18th, 2022, and it's titled Embattled County Official Losing Re-Election Bid Posts Angry Letter.
And this is states 353C.
And same another article written by Jeff Gehrman dated June 22nd, 2022. Embattled County Official Concedes Race Remains Combative.
Now, I think you said in a couple of questions ago, there were also social media posts that you discovered in your investigation.
Yes, there were.
I'm putting on the overhead states 353D. Do these appear to be posts by Mr. Tellis?
Yes, ma'am, they were.
And it looks like this one at the top here is dated 6/18/22.
Correct.
Can you read it?
Wife hears rustling in the trash. Her, honey, is there a wild animal in the trash? Me, no dear. Looks like it's at J. Gehrman, RJ, going through our trash for his fourth story on me. Oh, Jeff, and a laughy emoji.
Okay. And the rest of the text, it sort of compares or suggests that I left a pizza box and a sushi container in the trash. The next thing I'm going to have like sort of criminal organization ties.
Correct.
And then Not the last one, but the second to last one on that page, I think on 62522, can you read that one?
Typical bully, can't take a pound of criticism after slinging 100 pounds of BS. Up to article number 4 now. You'd think he'd have better things to do.
And then this last one on the page, which is also on 618.
That one says, looking forward to lying smear piece number 4 by @JGermanRJ. #1TrickPony. I think he's mad that I haven't crawled into a hole and died.
Is this his Twitter? I
Now
missed.
putting on the overhead, what's
Yes,
been admitted as
it is.
353E.
Show the tweets.
Looks
We
like
can see
some more
that.
social media posts.
Yes, ma'am.
And that one is from June the 17th of 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what does that one say?
It says, does the @LVRJ know that @JGermanRJ may be doing double duty on their dime? Do they know that he basically made a veiled threat to take me down or take down my site, with the truth after I had already lost the election?
And then there's like a screenshot, I guess, of
Text messages. Yes,
messages between himself and Gehrman.
I
is
seen
correct.
it. I seen it, Jay.
And at least can you see all of that
I've never
one?
had so many comments
Where
on my
Gehrman
appearance.
responds?
yes.
Than
What
being
does
at my
that say?
mom's in like the natural
in,
light.
in the long response there,
Yeah.
it says, Rob, I'm putting together another story on your office. This has to do with the letter you posted on your campaign website addressing the hostile work allegations. Employees view that as a threat of retaliation and have reported it to Human Resources. I would like to get your comments on that as well as your take on the election results so far. I would need something from you this afternoon.
And are you also aware of a letter that Mr. Tellis posted on his website, sort of answering some of the things that were alleged in those articles?
Yes, ma'am.
And let me see if I can get that. Sarah, did you already do that? Does that appear to be the letter?
Correct.
And this is for the record 338.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And that was posted on Mr. Tellis's website?
Yes, ma'am. I think it was his campaign website.
Campaign website. And I'm sorry, but can you switch it back over? Thank you. I'm going to put on the overhead, states 353F. Is this a non-moving version of that letter?
That appears so, yes.
Okay. And fair to say the letter disputes several of the allegations that Mr. Gehrman wrote about in his articles?
That's correct.
Now, you do research and you learn about the kind of tension between Mr. Gehrman and Mr. Tellis. Do you also, in the course of the investigation, learn that of any more information about the vehicle?
Yes, we did.
And do you learn that Mr. Tellis's wife has a Yukon Maroon in the same type and model as is seen in the video and around Bronze Circle?
Yes, that is correct.
Now, at some point, is there an effort made to gather a lot of video?
Yeah, yes, there was.
And can you kind of describe what that process was that the detectives and yourself went to get that level of video?
So with this, actually, we ended up kind of employing other patrol detectives to help us because it was that extensive. Typically, we go to the last place that we know that either the image of the vehicle or the image of the person was seen, and we almost kind of like just leapfrog down the street. We'll make a game plan ahead of time, even just knowing major cross streets, if there's businesses there, businesses that we've pulled video from before. So sometimes we have like previous contacts to where we can just make phone calls. But a lot of the time it's literally walking the street, driving the street, and just leapfrogging after each other to follow whatever we're looking for, whether it's a person or a vehicle.
Bob,
And in this
real
case,
quick,
quite a
super
bit of
quick.
video was gathered.
Yes, ma'am.
And did detectives
Why don't you email that spicy mustard company and be like, listen, I got prime real estate. We put your logo on this fucker's head during the trial, the sales you'll get, It's like at a baseball game where they have it on like the wall. Like, like you put the logo on this fucking guy's head. You got
Low
the
in
exposure.
scent.
You look at low.
They'll be like, yeah, he's got prime real estate up there. There's no question about that. And he's got prime real estate on there.
Detective Mogg sort of take control of the video essentially and start compiling it in a chronological manner.
Yes,
Now, on September the 5th, did you learn something in terms of forensic evidence that you had in this case?
we did. We learned
What was that?
that there was a foreign DNA detected under Jeff German's fingernails.
At that time, did you know who that foreign DNA belonged to?
No, they ran it in the systems, our local and I think state CODIS system, and it returned with negative results.
And those are databases with known DNA profiles in them?
Correct.
And so you had requested that foreign DNA be run in those databases, but there was no response or no match.
Correct.
So once you have that foreign DNA, do you draft a search warrant in order to get a DNA sample from Mr. Tellis?
I did.
And that was based on sort of the video evidence that kind of tracked a Yukon going to Mr. Gehrman's residence and then back in the area of Mr. Tellis's neighborhood,
Yes.
and as well as other facts that you had developed in the case in terms of their tense relationship and the fact that he had that kind of Yukon?
Correct.
Okay. And when you drafted that search warrant, do you recall, like, was it day, night, or when you got that signed?
That would have been in the 2:00 hour, in the like 0200 hours on September 6th, 2022. With investigations like this, we typically work very, very, very long hours. So I know we had been there all day and all throughout the night. Now it's about 2:00 in the morning when I was able to complete the search warrant and send it off to get signed.
And when you say get signed, who reviews that?
A district attorney reviews it, and then a district court judge reviews them.
And so without a judge signing off on it, you're unable to complete a search?
Correct.
The search for September 7th, was that for Mr. Tellis's house to get a DNA sample and also to collect his phone?
Yes, it was.
Okay. At some point, do you learn that Mr. Tellis has been pulled over on September the 7th?
Yes, and that was the same morning. I think I misspoke a moment ago and said the 6th, but it was into the 7th,
Okay.
the
so
morning.
To be clear, the warrant signed at like 2 a.m. on the 7th,
Correct.
and then he's pulled over so to effectuate that warrant about 5 hours later.
About, yeah.
Okay. Sorry. May I approach the witness, Your Honor? Detective Gaddis, I'm showing you it's been marked as states 214 through 216. Just tell me if you recognize those.
Yes, ma'am.
Do those appear to be pictures of the area where Mr. Tellis was pulled over on the morning of September the 7th?
Correct. It is.
State moves to admit 214 through 216.
No objection.
I'm putting on the overhead states 214. That appears to be the car. Is that the car that Mr. Tellis was driving that morning?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it patrol officers that pull him over?
Correct.
Where are you when they pull him over?
Asleep.
At your house?
Yes.
Okay. Do you get a notification that he's been pulled over?
Correct.
And what do you do?
I got in my car and drove out to the intersection that he was stopped at.
Okay. When you get to that intersection, do you try to make contact with Mr. Tellis?
I did.
And did you record your conversations with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you explain to him that you had a search warrant for his DNA?
Yes, I did.
And did you tell him that you were going to go get or have someone get him a copy of the warrant so he could have it?
Correct.
At some point, do you explain to him that you'll be taking photographs of him without his clothing on and suggest that you go to a different location?
Correct. I didn't want to do that on the side of the road.
Okay. And is the location that you agree to with Mr. Tellis the Summerlin Area Command?
That is correct.
when you are going to the Summerlin Area Command, do you arrange for a crime scene analyst to come and take that buccal swab and also take photographs of Mr. Tellis?
Yes, I did.
And was that Jennifer Manning?
Correct.
You go, I assume, to Summerlin Area Command with him?
Yes, ma'am.
And does Ms. Manning show up, take photographs, and take a sample from him?
Yes.
Now, once you have that DNA sample, had you made any kind of arrangements for the DNA to be tested kind of immediately?
We did. We asked CSA Manning just to drive directly back to the lab to give it to the forensic scientists.
And is that unusual to have like a sample taken and DNA turned around that fast?
Oh, yes. I've never seen one come back that fast.
Okay, and that was because this is sort of a dynamic investigation, so
Absolutely.
it needed to be a priority.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Now, while you're collecting, well, you're sort of there, but the crime scene analyst is collecting the buccal swab and the clothing. Were other detectives effectuating a search warrant at Mr. Tellis's house?
Yes,
And that house is on Spanish Steps.
correct.
I'm putting on the overhead what's been admitted as States 217. I know you weren't doing the search warrant, but do you recognize that location?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
That is Mr. Tejas' house.
Okay. Now, I'm going to just zoom in. Do you see security cameras on his house?
Yes, I do.
Could
They
you
are
circle them with your mouse?
right over here?
Okay. So those are present on the day of the search warrant, which is the 7th.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to put on the overhead what's been admitted as States 348. Back out here. And do you recognize that location?
Jay, Pepperpot thinks that our Florida lease conversation was secret code.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't understand. I didn't get it.
I think it was implying that we were checking out her chest. I was actually looking at the necklace. I swear I did. I swear. I'm a big New Orleans guy. So that's anytime I see a Florida Lee, I'm on it.
Yeah, that's the same house.
Okay. Do you see whether or not there are security cameras there?
And there are not.
Okay. So the
Wait a
surveillance
second.
photos.
Wait 1 second. You're telling me that Bernie Sanders is a distant relative of Larry David?
Yeah, that was on that guy who does like the ancestry, like for celebrities. He does those tests and like he sits down with and he told they were like very distant cousins. Yes.
No way.
Yes, that is facts.
That totally tracks, though.
Yes, it does. It really does.
Totally tracks. That's fucking crazy.
That I just had up, those were taken on September the 1st.
That last one, yes, I believe so.
Okay. After collecting samples from and clothing from Mr. Tellis, do yourself and Detective Jaffe take him back to his residence at some point?
Yes, we did later that afternoon.
Okay. Now, while you're still at Summerlin Area Command, do other detectives advise you of items that were found in the course of the search warrant?
Yes, I was getting updates throughout the day.
What sort of items were noteworthy that you recall that they found?
They called and told me that they found a pair of cut up tennis shoes that looked like what the suspect was wearing on the video that we'd collected. They said that they had also located a satchel shoulder bag that looked the same as what was seen on the suspect. And there was a hat. It was a straw hat. Then they said that also had been cut up in numerous pieces as well.
So you kind of knew that at some point while you're at the Summerlin Area Command.
Yes, I did.
Now, and at some point, you and Detective Jaffe take Mr. Tellis back to his house,
Yes, ma'am.
and he's free to go back in his house.
Correct.
At the time he was free to go back in his house, did you have any DNA confirmation results yet?
No,
How long after you let him go back in his house do you think you got the
less than an hour.
Okay. At that point, is a determination made we're going to arrest him?
Correct.
When Mr. Tellis was in the house and ultimately officers go in and take custody of him and he's injured himself. Are you present for any of that?
I was not.
Where were you at the time that was going on?
After I dropped him off at his home, Mr. Tejas, I took Detective Jappy back to his vehicle, which was at Summerlin Area Command, and then I drove to Metro Headquarters. With what we had found at the house that day, I was preparing arrest paperwork for Mr. Tejas, so I drove back to the office to start my declaration of arrest.
Okay. And so, because you have to write a report or a declaration of arrest in order to effectuate an arrest?
Correct.
Okay. So at some point after he's taken into custody, you got that phone that belonged to him, that was taken from him on September the 7th as well.
His phone, it was inside the Tesla
Okay.
that was at the traffic stop. And so we did a follow-up search warrant for that to get the
Wait,
phone.
this guy had a fucking
You did a
Tesla?
follow-up warrant getting judicial authorization to go into that phone.
Yeah, and $12 Nikes.
Tesla?
Marshall,
If I need more evidence that he's
you know
fucking
how
guilty.
you know how you buy a Tesla, you buy $10 Nikes at Marshall's, dude. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. And
Did
you know, he obviously doesn't have to pay for hair product. That alone.
That's
probably,
true. That's
you
true.
know, 18 bottles, 18 bottles a year at $20 a tube. Yeah.
you also do another search warrant on September the 8th at an office?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes. That was at the public administrator's office.
And that was the offices of where Mr. Tellis was working?
Correct.
And was a computer collected on the 8th as well?
There was several.
Pepper
Now-
pots all over you, Jay. She
I
knows
have
your
no
tricks.
fucking
Hey, she
clue
knows
what
your tricks, bro.
I don't know
She
what
knows your
she's
tricks.
talking about.
She's on to you, man. She's on to you.
Detective, or may I
I have
put
to go
your?
incognito.
Incognito!
Martha states 355.
Where'd Jay go? Where'd Jay go?
Do you
Where's Jay?
recognize what this is?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Okay. Is it labeled an extraction report?
it is.
And is it,
My producer Darren was texting me because when he converts the lives into podcasts, he's like on that second to last Delphi you did, were you like eating and chewing into the microphone? And he's like, it's disgusting. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh man, I might have been snacking on pistachios. He's like, well,
the
I was
pistachio.
like, I usually have it
snack-
on mute. He's like, yeah, it's repugnant, man. He's like, it's the grossest thing I've ever heard. I'm like, what? I said, what timestamp is that? Like, where is that? He's like, I don't know, dude. I'm like, oh, sorry, bro. Sorry. I'm like, you'll have to cut that from the pod. He's like, yeah, obviously.
a report that came from a download of Mr. Tellis's phone?
Yes.
State moves to admit 355.
No objection.
And this includes messaging between Mr. Tellis and Mr. Gehrman.
Correct.
I want to move to page 4.
Got to watch those.
Can you
This
see that on
courtroom,
your screen?
Yes,
Water-
I
I'll
can.
come right on.
Okay, the date of that message is what? The-
May 15th, 2022.
Okay, and so it kind of corresponds with
Thank you,
one of
Meg.
the news articles? Is that yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what does it say?
It says that I don't know what to say. I told you about how much this has all impacted me. You heard from employees who are being harassed by these people. Provided you prove that I was doing my best to actually smooth things over after I had to make hard decisions, still you wrote an article that makes it
Oh.
sound like I'm the guilty one. That was not fair or balanced.
Guilty.
And then there's another message.
I don't even have to
here in the
watch it.
middle,
Guilty.
It says I'm very distraught right now. Clearly, there are typos in my message.
And then there's one towards the bottom.
Yeah, and it's still
Fair
the same
enough.
day, May
Fair enough.
15th, 2022. It says, I've done so much for that office. I told you that I've been followed and that I caught Rita following me. You decided to take it on her word that she wasn't. However, clearly she was. It seems to me that you valued sensationalism or the value of a potential takedown than actually telling the truth. Thank you for helping him to drop more pressure on my life.
Was there a digital version of one of the articles that Mr. Gehrman wrote about Mr. Tellis?
What do you mean a digital version?
Like a version that had an attached
a
video
clip, yes.
Okay. And sorry, Sarah, but could you move us over? Thank you.
The Clark County Public Administrator's Office has been mired in turmoil and internal dissension for 2 years, with workers claiming emotional stress, bullying, and favoritism. Robert Tellis, who leads the office, has also faced allegations of an inappropriate relationship with a coworker, Roberta Lee Kennett. In an interview with Review Journal investigative reporter Jeff Gehrman, Tellis disputed several complaints.
What is your reaction to the allegations from these employees that you have created a hostile environment in this office?
Yeah, I earlier introduced you to the other 7 team members, and they're folks who all come with a great attitude, and they work hard. And together, them and I, we are what is making the difference with the performance of this office. I've tried my best to try to make everyone happy, but again, it's got to be within a certain framework. People just cannot get to do whatever they want,
It's not a free-for-all, Jay.
It's unfortunate that, we've got some people who were here from before who were basically trying to railroad me. And again, you met those other folks, they're happy, they're dedicated, and we're just here to do a good job.
Tellis, who's up for re-election in the June primary, blames a handful of old-timers for claims about a hostile environment in the office.
And no matter what type of gestures I try to make to smooth things over, to make sure that they're happy, they just don't, it's nonstop. And again, like I said, it's hard for me to make sure that I am a cheerleader for the folks who are doing really good work when I've got these other folks who are constantly, surveilling me, constantly trying to sabotage the office. But we're doing it, but it's hard.
Tellis denied allegations of any improper relationship with Lee Kennett.
And when you hear people raising these allegations about your and personal relationship, how do you say to people about that?
Well, honestly, it's not true. I said, I'm all of my friends, all my family know how much I love my wife. And if you look at, obviously you can't talk to the people that do this on a daily basis. But from my social media, from everything, you can see that I am about nothing but justice, fairness, and just being a good person. And it destroys me that somebody would even level accusations like that, because I don't know,
Yeah, it's crazy. We caught you on video getting out of the back seat of the car with your coworker there, buddy. It's us. We're the nutty ones. It's all their fault. It's everybody else's fault, buddy. It's not your fault. This poor guy. I think we should end this trial right now and just let him walk out. This guy is what a victim. Jesus, I feel so terrible for him. Poor guy. Jeez.
it's unreal. It's unreal the lengths that they're going to. They don't have any homes. Trying to
maybe quit being a dick all the time. Maybe if you're not a dick to everybody in your office, they won't be coming at you all the time. Wow.
Dude, it's wild. I was just thinking, it's just wild how many of these people are just these straight up narcissists that think they could just talk their way out of this shit. Like Murdoch, Adelson, this fucking guy. And in these trials, they make these faces. They think they're influencing the jury. They think that they could testify. And everyone else in the world who's not in their narcissism bubble is like, this guy's a fucking tool. But they are so in their narcissism, they can't see it.
You can't see it. He's blind to it, dude. And look, the term narcissist has been way overused. Like that, and gaslighting is being inappropriately used for it loses its bite when everyone uses it for every. This guy is an actual narcissist. This guy is like the epitome of what a narcissist is. Like everything is about him. Everyone else is at fault.
Yep.
Everything revolves around like, dude, yeah, no, this guy's hot garbage. I can't wait till he testifies. To be
Oh,
honest.
that's gonna be a shit show.
Dude, man, that's like I'm ready.
My personal life to win this race.
The Clark County Public Administrator's Office had
Oh, here's the video. Whoopsies.
So what do they tell this guy and like from the job to like a hotel or something? Is that like with this woman who is that what's going on here?
This is a coworker. Somebody who works beneath him. They're both in the back seat of her whip right now.
And is there like bumping or something? Like is there like?
I mean, Jay, if you can come up with a reasonable explanation as to why they're both in the back seat.
Oh, they're both. So you can see them both in like.
Oh yeah, you'll see them. You'll see them get out of the car. They're conducting important business, Jay. Important business.
And did she? I know she testified. Did she discuss this particular instance?
I don't remember her really coming. Oh, there he is.
There he goes.
He's like, all righty then. Okay. Took care of some business there. She's like, all right, that was important documents that we just executed. We need a full back seat. Aha. She's like, all righty then. I'm just gonna get in my car.
Like, did they have an investigator who was like tailing him? Like, or was
No,
this
I think it
the
was
workplace?
I think it was 4 gals that work in the office. They're like,
oh my!
I think I'm pretty sure it was like this group of 4 women are like, this guy is a flaming piece of shit. we're gonna do everything in our power to just like launch him into outer space. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 4 gals from his office.
When people are saying it's the office ladies, I'm picturing like Pam, Angela, all the girls from the office.
Yeah,
Meredith.
Pam's too sweet. Meredith, she'd be all about it though. And Angela and Meredith,
Angela,
all about it.
Prudence destroyed the foot. The foot. Prudence got the foot. Brody. Oh,
What was that?
one of my little feet. Prudence got it.
Oh,
She got
God.
it.
it's like a crime scene photo, bro. Get on, like, hold on. I have to give a trigger warning. If anybody just got disturbed by Jay showing that, like, just
I have another one though. It's okay.
desecrated, like,
I have
oh,
another
there
one.
we go. I feel better. Shoo. Does everybody feel better now? That foot was destroyed, bro.
Wow.
I didn't realize Scarlett got both hands.
Nice.
She got a whole.
Okay. And for the record, that video was from States 338. So if I could flip back over and put on States 355.
Hey, Leslie.
Again. These messages where he says Mr. Tellis says he's distraught and the article wasn't fair, those appear to be in response to that published article.
Correct.
Oof. Taryn, too soon, Taryn.
Now, you, fair to say, went through a lot of aspects of Mr. Tellis's phone. Is that
Yes, ma'am.
accurate? Did you look at his search history of news articles?
Yes, it did.
And generally, were there searches regarding Mr. Gehrman and himself?
Yes, there were.
This is States 356.
Exactly, Simi. Justice for Tiny Foot.
And that's
Tiny hands don't like
part of
it.
the search criteria, Jeffrey Gehrman, Las Vegas.
Correct.
And so you would have noted that as you examined the phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also,
What you got?
I was just gonna ask it. Like, it seems like he won't shut the fuck up. Did you ever have a client where you're like, listen, dude, you need to shut up. I'm trying to work here. Like,
Yes.
this guy is clearly won't shut the fuck up.
I would say 8 out of 10. You mean with this
Really?
fucking colored pencil there? It's got the colored pencil where you pull the little string to get it to peel down a little bit like that. That's like they used to give my clients. They would take the cartridge out of the ink pen.
Yeah.
So it's like the flimsy little skinny, like that's what he'd have to write with because they don't want him to have anything that could be a weapon. Yeah, dude. Like especially when you're trying to listen to the direct so that you can craft
right
cross-examination questions. You gotta be like, I'm like, dude, I gave you that fucking piece of paper so you'd write shit down. Stay out of my ear. Stay out of my ear, bro. Stay out of my ear. So yes, to answer your question.
did you also look to the phone to see if you could find items of clothing?
Yes, I did.
I'm putting on the overhead states 360. Do you recognize?
Leslie
Those
says it's a
that
wax
that's
pencil.
360.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do you recognize what that is?
Yes, I do.
Is that an extraction report
Misty's
from
calling it a grease pencil.
Mr. Tellis's phone?
That's correct.
And what are those thumbnail pictures that we see?
Crown.
Like what is the
Not a
actual image of?
crayon.
Yep.
It is an image of a gray Nike shoe with the black and white on it. There's also a rock climbing shoe in that image, and it looks like an ankle and a sock, like as if somebody was just switching out their shoes.
And that was found in Mr. Tellis's phone.
Correct.
And does this appear to be a bigger version than the thumbnail version?
Yes,
Now, why was that significant?
because those shoes are
Nate head,
identical to
Donna.
the ones that the suspect wore as he was
Not a
walking
forehead.
in the neighborhood on video.
Okay, and those shoes were they found somewhere too?
That is correct.
Where were they found?
Those shoes were found inside Rob Tejas' house, and one of them was cut up into pieces.
And this is states 228. That appears to be the shoe.
Yes, ma'am.
And those were tested for DNA as well, correct?
Correct.
Now, did Mr. Tellis take screenshots of articles written by Mr. Gehrman?
Yes, he did.
And were those stored on his phone as well?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing. May I approach, Your Honor? I'm showing you what's been marked as state's proposed 359. Ask you to look through that.
I should have worn my glasses today.
Do you want my?
No, that's okay. I can see.
You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. You're so vain. It's like me. I won't wear my cheaters because I'm too vain. They make my eyes look gigantic.
Okay. Is that another extraction report?
I look like
from Mr.
Bubbles
Tellis's
from
phone?
Trailer
It is.
Park Boy.
And does it contain screenshots of the articles written by Mr. Gehrman about him?
Yes,
State moves to admit 359.
And just so we're clear, this is a peeper version, just previously addressed on the video or part of that larger exhibit.
It's not, it probably is on the video, but not in
I
paper.
thought it was. Okay, we have no objection.
Okay, thank you. I'm putting on the overhead states 359. That's the extraction report, and then we see the thumbnails of the.
No,
screenshots.
can't see him on the
Yes,
dark
I'm
Elmo.
gonna flip to the end because it's easier to see. It's a bigger version of the thumbnails that were stored on his phone of these articles.
yes.
And it's the articles Mr. Gehrman wrote about him, about kind of turmoil at the public administrator's office.
Yes, that's correct.
Donna, Allie, and I went to go see that same show. What was it, like 5 years ago? It was amazing. It was like they basically did an episode live. It was so good. They did it at the Chicago Theater. It was awesome. That was back when the actor who played Mr. Leahy was live. Yeah, it was amazing. So good. So good.
Did you also find information indicating that Mr. Tellis was following kind of the fallout, I guess we should say, of the articles on social media?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor? I'm showing you what's been marked as states proposed 362.
Yes,
Do you recognize that?
I do.
Does that appear to be screenshots of some of the back and forth
Conversations.
after
Yes.
the article ran?
Yes, ma'am.
State moves to admit 362. And I think we'll do this one.
Pretty damn good, Leslie. It's pretty damn good. Jay, I asked you if you've ever watched Trailer Park Boys, didn't I?
You did. I've seen like an episode or two, but I never
Told you, man, you got to dive in one Saturday.
I do.
Go in. You're going to love it. I promise.
What does that screenshot say?
That was a screenshot that I found on Mr. Tejas' phone. It says push news articles down. That was the search. And then the first thing that populates is how to push a negative search result down, 4 steps to bury them.
Okay, 4 steps to bury
The article.
negative search results?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just do another one. This is a screenshot of a social media post that's sort of critical of Mr. Tellis.
Correct. And that's the same poster or the same tag name, the chill pill.
Okay, and then another one by that same person,
Yes, ma'am.
another one,
Correct.
and this is all on Mr. Tellis's phone.
Yes, ma'am.
This next image, and for the record, this is all from States 354, appears to be a conversation back and forth between Mr. Tellis and John Cahill
Correct.
about stuff going on at the office.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Tellis is responding on social media about the articles.
That's correct.
Now, you also, I think, searched Mr. Tellis's work computer.
Yes, I did.
So may I publish, because this one's already admitted, Your Honor, this is States 357. I'm going to show you the bigger images, but do you recognize what that is?
I do.
What is that?
Those are screenshots that I found they were on Mr. Tejas' phone of the desktop computer.
Okay, and I'm going to flip to some of the larger images that are attached to States 357. These appear to be searches associated with Mr. Gehrman.
Correct. It has his name on there.
Okay. Do you know what IDI Core is?
I do.
What is that?
It is how do I explain it? So like for us, for the police department, we use a program called Accurate. IDI Core is very similar to Accurate, which both of them, you can search people, you can find relatives, associates, prior addresses, additional phone numbers. Some of them you can even find email addresses, things like that, basically to try to either locate people or locate family of people. I think basically the only difference is that the IDI Core is we buy licenses. So if that public entity being like the PA's office or the coroner's office or the police department, they want to buy one over the other. It's just basically the fee of the license that they're willing to pay for, I think. But both of them do the same, very similar functions.
Identifying locations, someone's residence,
Yes.
their vehicle, that sort of thing,
Mhm.
sort of personal information about that person.
Correct. Yeah.
And so that was found on Mr. Tellis's phone as well.
Yes.
How about images of Bronze Circle? Did you find that on his phone?
I did.
Aw,
I'm just looking
thanks,
for
Mia.
it. Probably.
No, Charlotte, she had her own toe nightmare over the weekend.
So what are we looking at? And for the record, this is states 354.
So the street here below is, no, okay. The street is Bronze Circle. The house to the left, with like the pinkish in color, is Mr. Gurman's house.
And how many images do you think you saw of Bronze Circle and the surrounding area?
Oh, I would be good saying about 50 at least.
Okay, let's go through. And was it just all around the cul-de-sac?
Yes.
And do you recall the date of those images?
Ooh, I don't off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
If you could
I'm gonna
refresh my
put on
memory.
the overhead, the extraction report. This is states 363. Thank you. And see if we can,
I can see it.
okay.
It's
What does
a-
that say?
August 12th, 2022.
Okay, and those were when all of those images at least were modified, or there's some indication they were modified in the phone on August the 12th?
Correct.
How about images that were taken of like random cars? I don't know
Yes.
what-
Yes.
Let me find those. And for the record, this is still on state's proposed exhibit 354. Oops. Oops. I'll put it on this way. Sorry, Sarah.
If you,
This is states 364.
I recognize it.
And there were, how many images in this extraction report?
I think it was almost a couple hundred.
Okay. And when you saw those on the phone, let's check the date. Do you see the date for them?
I do. It's August 15th, 2022.
Okay. And what did you do when you saw all of those images of all these street views?
I started talking to all the people in my bay, the other detectives that sit near me. It just looked really odd to me. So I just kind of started grabbing people like, hey, what do you think this is? Where do you think it's at? And a few of us sat there and tried to figure out where the images were taken from.
Mhm.
So we were able to pin it down.
I'm how were you able to pin it down? What did you do?
So looking at the images, we could see that there was like a street sign kind of in the far distance, and you could tell that it was a long name. You could also see a lot of the foliage from the houses. You could see some mountains in the background. So just talking about it in general, it was, okay, well, I know this isn't going to be northwest because the foliage it's too grown, it's too mature. So, and it's got this portion of a mountain in it. So let's we basically just narrowed it down by sections of town and what mountain we thought that was in the background. And then one of the guys, he hit it on the head with the street. He finally got to the street. After that, I drove out to the street and sat in the same position to where I could tell that the photographs were from, and confirmed that that's where the photographs were taken.
May I approach, Your Honor? I'm showing you what's been marked as state's proposed 365. It's actually a couple pages, so if you could look through all three of them.
Yes, ma'am,
Do you recognize those photographs in that map?
I do.
And are they related to those street images that we were just discussing?
They are.
Bob, could you pause real quick?
Of course I could.
Thank
Or-
you.
Maybe. Oh, there we go.
Just real quick, Spitfire said her brother, what'd she say? Said to say hi, and I just wanted to say, and his name is Jacob, and I just wanted to say, hey, Jacob, and thank you for your support and watching us. We We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we love your sister. We love
Yes,
your
she's
sister.
amazing. Agree.
She's amazing. And every day. Donna White.
Donna's the
Yay,
best, too.
yay. We love you, Donna. I mean, you're already a fan, but welcome to the family. Family hug. Let's go.
And State moves to admit 365.
We don't have an objection.
So you said you went to the location.
I did.
I'm putting on the overhead the first page of State's 365. And what are we looking at there?
So on the far left of the screen, it has the address, the 7216 Brown Circle, which was Jeff German's address.
Mhm.
And then the address to the far right of the screen with the red pin drop is 6121 Vegas Drive, which is right at the intersection of Vegas and North Jones Boulevard.
So where I'm pointing with my pen, that's Mr. German's house.
Correct?
And this red pin drop is where you determined that those photos were taken from.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you take other photos to kind of demonstrate that that was the correct vantage point?
I did.
And let me flip to the second page of 365. Can you kind of orient the members of the jury, like what they should be looking at to know that that series of images, like this is the location?
So this is it's a Popeyes restaurant there at the corner of Vegas and Jones. This directional view is facing west. And so this is Vegas Drive over here, just beyond that wall.
Jay, I love that chicken from Popeyes.
And it's this section of the wall that has the cinder block is cut at an angle that's very distinctive, and that's in many of the photos.
Yes, what
from that
Pepper
area.
said.
And I'm going to flip to the last page of 365. What are we looking at there?
That's the Google Street View of that area. So the Popeyes is over here. That's the sign. And then that wall that I'm talking about is there. And there's also a power box that's down here a little bit kind of under a tree.
Okay. And then
Only they had the
going
light
back
on the
to
Elmo
the
on.
first
I don't even
page
see it.
of 365, that's
So
just
cool.
like the main
They have
street
lights on those things.
out of Mr. German's house.
That's correct.
Now I want to move to what's been admitted as States 354. I'll just pick one of these at random. Sorry, Sarah. Thank you.
Wait a second. So Mia, you had one of your mom's best friends forever was Cuban and pronounced it Popeyes. Popeyes. Let's go to Popeyes and get all the fried beans and rice.
Can you orient us looking at this shot, kind of what you just explained in terms of how you know this is the location?
Yes. So that cinder block wall is there on the bottom left portion of the screen. And you can see the power box down there on the ground as well. So when I was personally sitting in the Popeyes parking lot and turned westbound, that's the exact image that I saw.
But did you get a chicken sandwich before you left? Don't lie. Don't lie.
And so you
Bob,
documented all those images in 365.
I have a beef with chicken sandwiches, and I'm going to tell you what it is. I love fried chicken sandwiches. Here's my deal with them. So when I went to the Shake Shack, the tasting, they first of all they threw slaw on it, which I'm like, I don't know who's on big slaw, who's on the lot. We don't need slaw on everything. I don't understand why chicken sandwiches, they got the slaw and the pickles. And to me, why are we not putting a nice piece of cheese on there? I don't understand it. We do it with burgers. Why do chicken sandwiches not come with a nice piece of cheese? I don't understand.
Legit question. It's a legit question. However, in defense of the cold slaw, first place I ever started having coleslaw on sandwiches when I was in your town at Famous Deli, and I went in for a corned beef special. And you know how their sandwiches are like literally this tall. Mm-hmm. So it's like corned beef special. It's like they load a shit ton of coleslaw on the top, and it's not gonna lie, it's quite delicious. It's quite delicious.
Myself. Or the pickles. Get the pickles out of my face. I don't mind
blame your own fucking town, bro.
I don't mind the mayo or like the chicken sauce. let me get a nice piece of cheese on there and this chicken and the sauce, and I'm good to go.
Jay,
But I'm a 5, but I have the palate of a 5-year-old, so we all know I'm not supposed to.
Jay likes his chicken spicy.
In order to compare them later to, to compare them to the images we see from Mr. Tellis's phone from, it looks like 8/8 of 2024.
Wow.
Correct.
Look
Oh,
at
that, no,
Jay.
that 8/8 is not the date that image
Oh,
was
that's
taken.
right. It was 8/15, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Of
And-
2022.
Yes, of 2022. And that would just be another image,
Correct. There was numerous that were just like that.
another one,
Correct?
another one.
Yes. Yes, same.
Okay. And all of them appeared to have that center block wall, so you were able to orient the photo.
Yes, ma'am. And if the wall wasn't there for some reason, then we were still able to compare it to the trees and the wall in the background and the mountain in the background, that it was still the same location.
Okay. Now, during the course of your investigation, did you also hear 2 recordings taken from Mr. Gehrman's phone?
I did, yes.
And were they like sort of threatening audio recordings?
Yes.
What steps did you take in terms of following up on those?
So the recordings themselves that were in Mr. Gehrman's phone, just basically just showed that they were audio files. They sound like they're voicemails, but I don't believe that they are voicemails received into that phone. I think it's maybe as if he checked his office voicemail or something, and that's how it came in through the phone. But so I listened to both of those. Neither of them really, they don't identify Mr. Gehrman by name. They just seem very angry and like they're ranting about something. So I started going back on Mr. Gehrman's, or looking back at his news articles that he wrote to see if there was anything that coincided right around the same time that the voicemails were received. And I didn't find anything.
And so the sort of the date that's marked in the phone for the voicemails, well, actually, may I approach, Your Honor?
Jay, there have been very few objections and very, very few sidebars. So
good.
that's been pleasant. Oh my God, Leslie. Eggs are not disgusting. How dare you, madam?
I even like eggs.
Right. I mean, this guy eats nothing.
I'm showing you.
Not egg salad, though. Get that out of my fucking face.
Do you recognize what that is?
But a nice
Won't
bacon,
you
egg,
put
and
me
cheese.
mayo with my
I think
eggs,
those are the
sons of
voicemails,
bitches.
dates, 2/18/20. Yeah, those are the voicemails.
Okay, so this appears to be an extraction report from Mr. Gehrman's phone, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
No longer talking about Mr. Tellis's phone.
Correct.
And you, we've been talking about 2 kind of angry audio files on his phone.
Yes.
I'm going to move to admit states 366.
No objection.
By the way, isn't Duet in Vegas now? We got to get him into that courtroom. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
So looking at these files,
We
it
had
looks
somebody
like
boots on the
there's
ground
a
last
creation
week.
date and a
on
modified
Friday.
date.
Correct.
And
He was in the courtroom, like on our
what is
live.
the creation date?
Nice.
For the first audio file, it's going to be February 24th, 2022 at 12:13 p.m.
Me
And
too,
for the
Pammy.
second one?
It's February 18th,
Can't get
2022
enough egg.
at 12:11 p.m. So
Hello,
just 6 days
Oliver.
prior.
Okay, and so this would have been 7 months before the murder of Mr. Gehrman,
Yes.
assuming that they're not assuming they're not older files. This is when the audio file was created.
Correct.
Now, on one of them, was there content in the body of the audio file that caused you to do some research?
Wait a second. We got Oliver in the house.
Oliver's in the
Oliver,
house.
what's up, dude? What's up? I wish Scout was here. She's probably going to be getting back from volleyball practice any minute, Oliver. If she does, I'll have her come in and you guys can say what up. All right. Thanks for watching. Jay, watch your mouth. Got a youngster with us.
All right, fine.
About a possible article that Mr. Gehrman wrote?
Yes,
that might be associated with the call?
yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Honor? Detective Gaddis, I'm showing you what's been marked as Facebook post 367. Does that appear to be the first page of a news article?
It does, yes.
And can you see the date on it?
It's February 22nd, but 2021, so a year prior.
Okay, is this an article that you found in order to see if it correlated with one of those audio files?
Correct.
State moves to admit 367.
No objection.
And I'm publishing that for the, is that okay, Your Honor, if I publish it? Thank you. And I just want to note for members of the jury that we have the date of February the 22nd of 2021. The headline on this article is Emerging Extremists Bring New Concerns for Law Enforcement. Why did that article or why did that topic catch your attention as a detective in terms of like the content of the audio file?
The person that was just yelling into the phone was, I guess I would say, I would put it on the extremist level. I don't really know how to explain that. I'm sorry.
Oh, well,
It
no,
was-
that's probably a big question. So in those audio files that appear to be aggressive or
Mhm.
threatening, did one of them sort of refer to Biden and the election?
Yeah, it was
and that sort
more so like
Okay.
political affiliation and being angry.
Okay.
But yeah.
And then based on that, did you try to research any articles that Jeff Garriman had written about political extremists and that sort of thing?
Yes.
And this
This
is the
one of the
article.
article. Yeah,
And the article you found is from 2021.
correct.
Thank you. I will pass the witness.
Oh,
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Yes. We're gonna set something up. Okay.
what time do they normally take a little afternoon?
Yeah, it's like it's typically right around now. Like she does not go for extended periods, dude. It's like she was like half hour late in the court this morning, and then went about an hour and a half, hour 45, took lunch. That so she's like, there's probably only like 4 hours
We
of
have a-
court time per day.
Drive that we're gonna have marked admitted in by stipulation,
Yes.
but we're gonna play it first while we're setting it up. We'll give it to the clerk following.
Mark next to mine.
Why
Wait,
don't
I
we make
missed
this
that. Where'd you post it?
W. It'll be defense exhibit W. Just get it set up. Yeah, Detective, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna direct your attention to these messages that were left. And we don't know for sure whether they were left on Mr. Garriman's cell phone or.
Hey Jay, prepare for a lot of treading water. Just get ready. Get ready for your doggy paddle. A lot of treading water here by the defense attorney. Not making up much ground.
Not obviously they're tied to his cell phone.
That's correct. Yes.
Fair to say.
Yes, absolutely.
And this was the.
Stop lying to people. Whoever the guy was that wrote that article the other day, you need to fire his ass. Stop lying to people. We're coming for your ass. We are watching you motherfuckers. You better fire that son of a bitch. I'm coming down there tomorrow, motherfuckers.
Are you aware of the date that this recording was extracted, presumably from Mr. Garriman's cell phone?
I mean, that sounds like every voicemail I leave Jay. Like everyone.
That did remind me. I was wondering where I could think about that. That's fine.
the date that it was extracted
Correct.
being like that we downloaded the phone.
Correct.
I don't know what that date was.
Okay. We had heard two dates on direct, a February 24th, 2022 and February 18th, 2022. Are you able to pinpoint on?
Yes, but I thought those were the modified dates. I'm sorry, I
Correct.
thought you meant the extraction of when the phone was extracted.
Well,
My
that
apologies.
brings to the point too. Do you know when this was taken from the phone, extracted from the phone?
It was, I know our digital forensic lab conducted the forensic dump. I'm not sure when that was, though.
Okay.
I don't know.
Hey,
So you're unable to
Hey,
testify
family
concerning
hug.
that date.
Welcome,
at this point in
Pepper
time,
Pot.
fair to say?
Correct. But like you were talking about with the two dates in February of 2022, yes, those were the two voicemails that were, or the two audio files that were a little strange.
I'm gonna take a pic of that right there.
It's the second one right there.
This bit.
All right, I'm gonna have
So I
you
have
listen
it.
to this one.
You guys just did some propaganda shit out about fucking just for Biden, you fucking piece of shit. You left wing fucking faggot, fucking socialist, fucking pig, motherfuckers. You guys will pay in the end, motherfuckers. You fucking cheated and lied. You guys fucking lied and cheated. And then you went out fucking only Biden, only fucking bad shit, motherfuckers. Just talk to you, piece of shit, you
Oliver, earmuffs. Earmuffs, Oliver.
And that was very similar to the voicemails Allie leaves me. So this is very
That tracks. That tracks.
motherfuckers. Then the Republic fight again, and you guys are fucking dead, motherfuckers, someday, motherfuckers.
Fair to say that
So
the second voice.
that guy thinks they're motherfuckers, I think. I think
I think so.
that's what I'm taking away from that.
Message is a different individual.
Yeah, I believe so.
And you believe that these both messages were left by political extremists or those that tend to be extremist in nature?
Well, I would say that there are people that were upset with articles that were written. I don't want to judge or assume what their political affiliations are. I just knew they seemed upset.
Fair to say you didn't speak with either of these.
I can guess what political
Not.
And you were
affiliation.
asked and you were shown states exhibit 367 concerning.
I agree. Pepper pot is fun to say. Pepper pot. Pepper pot. Hello. I'm going to the pepper pot. I want to have a pepper pot. I love the pepper pot. I love saying it too. It's funny that Leslie said that because I was thinking that. Pepper pot. Hey, what do you do? Let's go to the pepper pot.
The date that you thought that these articles may be concerning.
Are we talking about the article that we just brought up?
Correct.
Yes.
And that article was the 22nd of February.
Y'all, sorry for the constant interruptions. Allie's got real law work this week. So as much as I want to suck her in, she's rebuffed my advances and told me to shove it up my ass. Go do your shit yourself, buddy. I said, okay, babe. Love you. I'll stay upstairs in my room.
February 2021, correct?
I thought it was February 21st, 2021, but yeah, it's 2021.
Okay. But you're not able to say exactly when these messages were left in
I'm
reference to Mr. Gehrman.
No, I'm not.
Long period, short period, we don't know, do we?
Correct.
Travis always
You were the primary
factoids,
detective
man.
in reference to this investigation.
Factoid
Yes, sir.
gang.
Detectives generally
Okay.
operate in details. This was a homicide detail, correct?
That's correct.
Generally, kind of fast-acting investigations, you're generally trying to operate under deadlines because you believe that facts and circumstances that give rise to a charge of murder may be anything but static.
Maybe.
That's true. Sure.
Maybe.
I wouldn't say deadlines, but there is a expeditious work. Yes.
You had testified that your initial press release was the 5th of September, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
And then there was a subsequent press release on September 6th.
Yes.
And it was your testimony that after these press releases, you began to receive tips.
We started receiving tips. I would say probably at least by the 4th. Just, hey, I saw a guy who has clothes on that could possibly match over in a park, things like that. But tips regarding Mr. Tejas started coming in after the images of the suspect walking.
So you had received tips prior to your press release concerning this image, the image of the individual walking as well as the vehicle, correct?
Yes. No, well, we didn't get those until we released the image, so maybe they didn't come in until the 5th.
The 5th?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's unclear right now as far as your recollection concerning when you began to receive tips concerning who this perpetrator may have been.
No, I just know that we received tips. There was many tips that we got.
Big tips, lots of tips.
You received information from Detective Jappy in reference to Mr. Tellis,
Yes,
correct?
I did.
You authored a officer's report in reference to your investigation in this matter?
Correct.
And it's your testimony that you received information from Detective Jappy implicating Mr. Tellis?
He told me that he could be a possible person of interest for sure. Yes.
Okay, but not implicating in the murder of?
No,
Jeff
he
Behrman?
didn't come and tell me that he was. No, he posed him as a person of interest.
Okay. Obviously, you were involved in the in authoring this officer's report.
That's
It's
correct.
fairly lengthy. It's 70 pages.
Yeah, it is.
And you make reference to receiving information from Detective Jappy.
Yes.
On Monday, September 5th, 2022. And let me ask you this. You reviewed this in preparation for your testimony today?
Yes.
Okay. So if I told you page 3 of your officer's report, Detective Jappy from the Criminal Intelligence Section advised Tellis had recently posted a rant on Twitter.
Correct.
Fair to say that was his characterization?
Yes.
And this rant that you referred to has been shown to us today. This is the rant that you believe that Detective Jappy was pointing your attention to?
It was the Twitter images or the screenshots of the tweets. Yes.
Okay. And fair to say that Detective Jappy characterized this as a rant? Fair to say?
I really don't know if it was him or if I said rant.
Okay. But that was the word used in your report, correct?
Yes, that word rant is there.
There's an additional reference that predates the release of these images that you received from Detective Jappy on September 4th.
Yes.
On September 4th, you were contacted by Criminal Intelligence Detective Jappy regarding Gehrman's murder, correct?
Yes, sir.
Jappy had advised you had prior contact with Robert Tellis, correct?
That is correct.
And that Tellis may have had a motive to murder Gehrman, correct?
Yes, sir.
So fair to say that that's implicating Robert Tellis in a murder. If you get a call or an email from Detective Jappy and he says, Mr. Tellis has a motive to murder him, wouldn't you agree with me that that is implicating him in a crime?
I would say that there's a lot of people that could have motives, and I'm just receiving the information. He said that he could have a motive, yes, but I don't take that as an implication because I don't take that. I still have to do my full investigation on my own. So we
Again,
get tips.
And fair enough, but I'm using the words that you would use in reference to the report that you generated,
Yes.
correct? Robert Tellis had a motive to murder Gehrman. Fair to say?
That's
Based
what
upon your report?
Yes, sir. Yep.
And that Detective Jappy explained Tellis was upset with Gehrman because of an article he wrote, correct?
Correct.
And in reference to this article that Mr. Tellis was upset about, he made reference to a May 16th, 2022 article, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
And if I told you that it was on page 21 of your 70-page report, would you have any reason to disagree with me?
I would not. That's probably correct.
So based upon your information that you had received from Detective Jappy, Mr. Tellis was upset about some May 16th, 2022 article, correct?
Yes.
And we go May, June, July, August, September. So we're talking 4 months that have basically transpired from the time of this article that Mr. Tellis was upset about and Mr. Gehrman's murder. Fair to say?
Correct.
Dude, I just bought 4 pairs of those shades.
So based upon
what you're talking about.
the review of your officer's report, we have 2 references made to Detective Jappy very early on in this investigation.
Yes, sir.
One on September 4th,
Correct.
correct? And that's
Mhm.
before you started receiving tips and information, and one on September 5th of 2022.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, you're agreeing with me. You authored this report and you made reference to both of those, correct?
Yes. I just didn't know if there was a question. I'm sorry.
And it was, and that's why I asked. Yes, it's a question. Obviously, suffice to say, when I stand here and I ask you things or questions.
Okay, understood.
So right at the get-go, you'd agree with me that we have Detective Jappy reaching out to you stating, I know an individual that has a motive to murder Jeff Cameron.
Yes,
There's part of your investigation concerned the subject Denali, correct?
correct.
We had heard testimony that there were several Denalis, and that was former Detective Mogg. Now he's private citizen Mogg analyst. There was there was efforts made by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department to ascertain what vehicle may have been involved in this crime, correct?
What do you mean ascertain what vehicle? Like from the video?
Yes. Yeah, we're trying to track that down.
That specific vehicle down, yes.
Correct. At one point in time, we have an email where, well, there's 67 Denalis. Fair to say it was a fairly large number.
Yes.
Were you able to determine, and of that 67, we heard from Mr. Mogg, I keep wanting to refer to him as detective, but the number was narrowed down. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
But there was still a fairly large number of Denalis that you were trying to follow up on.
I can't say that it's a large number.
Okay. At one point in time, it became a specific Denali that you were focused on, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, there was surveillance in reference to this Denali on September 6th, 2022, correct?
That's correct.
We heard from Metro Intelligence agent Tolliver today that she was surveilling and she saw that vehicle in relation to two others.
Yes,
Okay, that was September 6th, correct?
correct.
And that was after the information had been sent to you, or you got calls 2 times from Detective Jack. Fair to say?
Up until that point?
Yes.
Okay.
So then you were focused on that one Denali, correct?
Well, we were focused on that Denali because we followed it from the crime scene back towards that neighborhood.
Well, we're getting there, but you're saying,
Okay.
we're talking about what's going on. Obviously, you didn't follow that Denali, did you?
No, we were following it on video.
Correct. And when did that begin?
The video surveillance
Correct.
recovery, the day that we were out there documenting the scene.
Okay, you make reference to Mr. Mogg beginning this. Who else in addition to Mr. Mogg was
The
involved
Mogwai.
in this collection of video?
Detective Milligan, Detective Hoffman, Detective Gilbert, pretty much all the detectives on my team. And then we, like I was telling DA Weckerly earlier, that there was also, we employed patrol detectives from other area commands to come and assist. So there was multiple people
And when did this process begin?
on the day of the day that we were called out to the murder. So on September 3rd.
We watched an exhibit wherein we followed a Denali
Mhm.
from a distance. You're obviously aware of that. You've reviewed that, and both in the steps that you took in this, in preparing this.
Jay, have you ever seen a trial? And I know that you haven't been watching too much of this, but just this officer is pretty much, I'd say, on par with it's been a very cordial type trial. There's been she's delightful. She's not prickly with this guy. He's not really prickly with her. It's very matter of fact. It's very conversational. It's unusual.
Agree.
But it's interesting. I like her a lot.
Yeah, she's good.
She's good.
Memo this report as well as in preparation for your testimony today. Fair to say?
I haven't seen Detective Mogg's report, but I am familiar with the video because it is part of the case file.
And are you aware of when Mr. Mogg ultimately compiled and presented that exhibit? The analysis concerning the Denali. Are you aware of when he compiled that and when he had that? When he finished it?
No.
Fair enough. There came a point in time where you obtained a search warrant concerning Mr. Tellis, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you had testified that that search warrant was done about 2 a.m. on the 7th.
Correct.
There was a question asked by the state, did you submit this to a judge for approval, correct?
Yes, sir.
You did that.
Yes, sir.
And in preparation for this search warrant, you have to prepare an application, basically an affidavit in support of a search warrant.
That is correct.
And In this application, you lay out the steps, basically the evidence that you feel that you have.
Correct.
And that's in order to obtain probable cause to get the warrant, correct?
Yes, the facts that we've learned up to that point are what we use as probable cause. Correct.
The warrant that you referred to was submitted, signed, and it contained your affidavit, correct, in support of probable cause.
Yes, I drafted that warrant.
And in reference to this, you say that obviously there was surveillance of Mr. Tellis's house, correct?
That is correct.
And that the surveillance occurred on Tuesday, September 6, 2022.
Correct.
You make reference to Mr. Tellis exiting his house and looking at
Well, I would
the
appreciate
vehicle,
that.
correct?
Referring to the Denali, yes.
That he walked back inside the home, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then his phone stopped receiving phone signal, correct?
True. That's what I was told.
And then you state that Mr. Tellis exited the home again and began to wash the maroon GMC Denali, correct?
Correct, sir.
And then you show images of this Denali in reference to the Denali that you're investigating.
I don't show images in the search warrant, no.
You make reference to it.
Yeah, I speak about it,
Yes.
but I'm not showing images of it in the
But you make
warrant.
reference to it, correct?
Yes,
And you'd agree with me that on this affidavit that you submitted in support of probable cause, you didn't state that Mr. Tellis washed 3 vehicles.
Oh,
correct?
I did not know
I
that
gotta
at
get
the
the
time.
guy. I hear him
I
crying.
was told that after the fact.
Okay. At no point in time in here did you say he didn't wash the inside of the vehicle, did he? Did you?
No, because I wasn't told that he did.
But later you learned that he in fact washed all 3 vehicles in front of his residence
I did, correct.
over a 2.5-hour period.
Yes, sir.
And that he did not wash the interior of any of the vehicles.
Objection, that misstates the testimony.
I think it's exactly what the testimony was.
I can ask her what she knew.
Yeah, no, at the time, I did not know that he washed all 3. At the time that I made that application, I only knew that he had washed the one and that, yes, that the phone had dropped service and came back on. I wasn't told about the other 2 cars until days later.
Okay.
So I don't honestly recall anything about either even being the interior or exterior. I just knew at that time he was washing the exterior of the Yukon.
And if I told you today that we heard testimony from a detective or an officer from Metro Intelligence that he
Mhm.
washed the exteriors of the 3. and
I
he
don't doubt that. I'm sure he did. I'm just telling you, I was not told that at the time.
Later in the day, you had testified that you received a phone call and that Mr. Tellis had been stopped, correct? And this is September 7th, 2022.
Yeah, and it was early in the morning, probably 6:30 or 7 in the morning.
He was stopped as a result of this warrant at your direction,
This
correct?
investigation, yes.
You received a phone call, he had been stopped. Do you know who stopped him?
I knew that we had surveillance on the house throughout the evening. We had patrol officers standing by to where if he was going to leave, that the patrol officers would make the traffic stop.
And are you aware of which patrol officer stopped him?
No, I'm not.
You'd agree with me that based upon Metro's policy, patrol officers are to wear body cam.
That is correct.
And that whenever there is civilian contact, that body cam should be running.
That's correct.
So you would presume that whomever it was that came into contact with this individual that you wanted to stop and who you're investigating for a murder would have their body cam running, correct?
I would assume that, yes.
Are you aware of multiple requests made on behalf of Mr. Tellis to obtain his body cam?
Yes.
Are you aware of an order issued by this court on July 18th of 2023 to preserve and turn over that body cam?
I don't know the exact dates of orders, but I know there were requests that were made.
And are you aware that that body cam was ultimately destroyed or erased and not turned over?
I believe it was overwritten.
And are you aware that that overriding of this body cam occurred about a month and a half, give or take, after the order to turn it over was made?
If you say so, I don't doubt that.
Ultimately, you come into contact with Mr. Tellis and on the morning of September 7th, 2022.
Yes, sir.
And at this point in time, you are recording your interactions.
Yes, I typically keep my recorder. It's an audio only recorder on.
I mean, as a detective, you don't wear body cam, do you?
No, sir. That's why I keep the audio recorder on.
Understood. Is it fair to say that you come and go from crime scenes with or without CAD, or do you show up on CAD every time you appear at a crime scene?
By policy, are supposed to log in through dispatch, and we get assigned into CAD, which is the computer aided dispatch system that we use. So yes, we do that. Is there a rare occasion that we end up somewhere and we didn't tell the dispatcher? Absolutely, but we log into CAD, yes.
Fair enough. And obviously, whether a person reports to CAD or logs into CAD, that's incumbent upon the person reporting, him or herself.
Correct.
Officers or detectives of Metro Intelligence, same thing. They don't wear body cam. We have to rely upon their logging in or not in order for them to
Correct,
appear
yes.
in CAD, correct?
Mhm.
Is that yes?
Yes, sir.
Just so we have a clear
Sorry.
record, I appreciate you. So at this point in time, it's 7:23. It's in the morning, September 2nd, September 7th, 2022, Mr. Tellis has stopped and you need to come into contact with him, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this point in time, you are recording your interactions with him because you may be of some evidentiary value.
Correct, yes. It's not even just that it could be evidentiary value. I record a lot. I don't ever want my integrity to be called into question. So I want to make sure that my interactions are documented completely.
Understood. And in this case, you had the recorder rolling, fair to say.
Yes.
You tell Mr. Tellis that you have a warrant and you need to stop him for a little while, correct? He wasn't formally under arrest, but he was being
detained. Yes.
He was not free to leave.
Correct.
Is he handcuffed?
At that point, I'm not sure if patrol officers had him handcuffed because when I spoke to him, he was in the back seat of a patrol vehicle.
Correct.
I'm not sure if his hands were cuffed or not, but I know the door was shut. So, and he's sitting in the back of a patrol car.
Obviously, if he had tried to walk away, he would have been stopped.
Absolutely, yes.
So he was not free to go.
That is correct, yes.
And so we're clear and so we're operating from the same group of facts. There were 3 transcripts prepared in reference to your interactions with Mr. Tellis on September 7th, 2022.
Okay. I thought there was 4 different, but
I have 3. So if I may approach the witness.
I would say, okay, yeah.
And they've got some notes on them. It's okay with me, but if I may approach. This one.
723, yes, sir. 801, yes, sir. Time out.
There's no time. I'll get to it. I have 3. Is there 4?
Okay.
3.
I thought there would be 4 separate unless one of them is combined. The last one, can I look at that?
Please go right
Okay.
ahead.
The last one, it might be combined because that might have also the drive home.
Okay.
Give you a ride home. Use the restroom. I believe there should be one more because it appears to end after leaving the substation.
Okay. Then I'm going to ask Your Honor, I will address what I have here, but we may have to, after the break, we may have to address this.
Okay. Sorry about that.
So what I've shown you here is the 3 transcripts of these surreptitious recordings based
Yes.
on what I have. First one, it's yourself and Mr. Tellis, correct?
Correct.
Second one, it's yourself and Mr. Tellis.
That's correct. We were still at the traffic stop at that point.
And then the third statement and it's the longer one. The first one that I have, there's about 5-6 pages, fair to say. 6 pages. Correct? That's a question.
Yes, sir.
Second one, 9 pages.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 6 pages. It was bad penmanship. Third statement or third surreptitious recording, that's 49 pages.
Yes, sir.
And on this third one, unlike the prior two, we have Detective Jappy present.
That's correct.
You had reached out to Detective Jappy, or did he just appear?
No, I called him and asked for help.
Okay.
You're muted, Bob.
I get the sense that the Detective Jappy is like this case's proctor, or at least they want him to be. They're trying to make Detective Jappy out to be the nefarious villain cop in this one. Haven't seen anything to that extent, though, proving that he's nefarious. So I don't know.
First two, fair to say, there's not really a lot of substantive conversation. You're saying
No.
you're not being arrested, even though he's handcuffed in the back of the car, but you're saying we have to detain you.
Yes.
Have these warrants, correct?
Yes.
The first two, where Detective Jappy is not present, we have the times that they occur, correct?
Yes, sir.
This third one, based upon your review of the transcript that I showed you, we don't have a time, do we?
On that transcript, no.
Okay. And this one's, like I said, fairly lengthy compared to the other two. It's 49 pages.
Correct.
Fair to say that during this time that Mr. Tellis has, I mean, he's been stopped, he's been handcuffed, he's been put in the back of the car, he's concerned.
No,
Reasonable to assume he was concerned. I mean, you get handcuffed, you stick back the car.
I just don't want to put feelings and emotions in somebody else's, but I understand what you're saying. Yes.
Reasonable to assume he's concerned. I mean, it's kind of scary. I mean, I know people that prior to being a homicide detective, you were,
Is there a question?
I'm asking it.
Go ahead.
Prior to being a homicide detective, you worked in other capacities for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
Yes, sir.
At one point in time, did you start as a patrol officer?
Yes, it did.
Stop someone for a traffic ticket before, correct? Prior to being a homicide detective.
Yes.
You've had people cry, you've had people respond a number of different ways, being just a patrol officer stopping someone for a traffic ticket.
Correct.
People can get alarmed and it can be a traumatic situation just for a traffic ticket, correct?
Sure. Yes.
You'd agree with me that it's far more distressing to handcuff a person and stick them in the back of a police car,
Your objection calls for speculation.
based on her experience.
Some people are okay with things like that. Some people aren't. I'm sorry, but I can't. I know he was concerned for his family that day.
Yes.
Absolutely. He was concerned. He wanted to see his wife and his children, but I don't want to speculate how he felt.
He's told that the press is at his house, correct?
Probably told by that point. Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned it in the first 2 contacts that I had with him, but I know by the time we got to the area command, he was told.
Yes. He's being asked concerning, does he have injuries to his person?
Yes.
He basically says he doesn't. He has an injury to his ring finger, but
Correct.
he makes a reference to his alarm waking him up. And he's told by Detective Jappy that you don't have to worry about that ever again. And I'm referring counsel to page 7 of the 3rd recording. Recall that?
I don't recall that.
If I may approach the witness.
I will tell you though, there was times that I was in and out of the room too. So honestly, I don't recall hearing that. I'm not saying it wasn't said, but I don't recall it.
And if I told you that he's being told you're nervous to worry about his alarm clock again, fair to say that's accurate.
You're not on mic, dude. It's like me when I'm muted. This guy walked away from the mic, bro. I don't even think she's snarky.
He's
She's just
informed that his house is being processed.
like a nice person. Oh shit. Look. See, just as soon as I say we didn't get any sidebars. Jay brings them with. Whenever Jay's in the house, he brings sidebars with him. He's always got a couple sidebars in his pocket. Like, hold on, I got a gift for you. Sidebar. Yeah, I think this cop's great.
Agree.
Yeah. There was another cop who was super attractive that was on, but she was only on for a hot minute. She was a surveillance cop she was like on the beat until she was blinded by the light shining off this dude's dome. So she was taking a picture and the reflection from his dome blinded her through the lens of her camera. And now she was up on the stand and she's visually disabled, can't see shit. This guy, look at him. He's like, this is serious business right now.
It's always looking perplexed.
This is serious. I don't understand what's happening. Is this a real case against me? This is just absurd. It's insane. Yeah. I got one thing to say about this guy. One thing, Jay.
Only guilty man in Shawshank.
It says during this recess, you're admonished not to discuss or communicate with anyone, including your fellow jurors, in any way regarding the case or its merits, either by voice, phone, email, text, internet, or
afternoon
means of
break,
social media, read, watch, or listen to any news or media accounts or commentary about the case, do any research, consult dictionaries, the internet, or reference materials, do any investigation, test a theory, recreate any aspect of the case, or in any other way investigate or learn about the case on your own, or form or express any opinion regarding the case until it's finally submitted to you. We'll be in recess for 15 minutes. Thank you.
15 minutes, 15 glorious minutes. So what's
All
up,
right.
dude? All right, so tell us what's up. I got everybody portaling to you at 8. What do you got going on? To see, it sounds like I saw your first post. It sounds like you got a little bit of a treasure trove from your FOIA.
Yeah, I think I'll explain this. And I'm going to eat something, and I'll be back. So I'll be back at 8. So, yeah, guys, I did a FOIA, and I've made Bob so proud because I actually got a FOIA back. It was a little pricey because my initial price, and then there were 2 more, but whatever. I think it was worth it with what I got because last night I shared one of the interviews I got, which was really shed a lot of information from 2 of Dan Markel's friends and how they basically said, based on the way Harvey, who hasn't been charged yet, acted at the memorial service for Dan Markel, they're like, if I had to guess, he was involved. They literally say that 4 days after Dan, he wouldn't make eye contact with them. He was acting all shady. So in addition to the police interviews, I got the police report. What's interesting, and I'm sure, Bob, you've had this happen, but it's my first FOIA. So it's like a bunch of files. So I got to start going through the files, and I see there are supplemental files. Now, the murder happened in 2014, and these are supplemental files from I think 2015, 2016. And what they are is apparently some folks who were in the same cell as Sigfredo Garcia, who's the actual person that shot Dan, say he had some toilet wine and started spilling some details. And I'll tell you this,
spilling
folks.
The tea.
Yeah, spilling the tea. And I'll just give this little spoiler, folks. And I'm not, I think some people have had this stuff for a while, so this might be out there, but it's new to me. There are things he says that contradict what Katie, another key witness in this, his baby mama, Katie McManaway. There are things he tells these other inmates that specifically contradict what she said and are really interesting. So I have 3 separate, pages of three different inmates who basically corroborate that he gets a little alcohol in him and he starts talking.
Singing, man. Singing.
Now, obviously, Bob, it's hearsay, can never be used in trial unless he actually will testify, which he never will. He hasn't to date. He's got life. He's not getting life, so I don't see him ever testifying. Although his, Katie McManaway for the first time came in and in Charlie's trial and said everything I said in the first 2 trials was a lie, where she tried to say I wasn't involved. I was involved. where it seems like maybe she's trying to do something so the state will reduce her sentence. She's got, I mean, they both have 2 kids out there that'll never see them again if they both are in jail for life. So, yeah, I'm going to share those 3 pages, and hopefully people like it. So that's basically what I'm
Sounds
doing.
awesome, dude. Sounds like it was a good first FOIA. Sounds like you got
Yeah.
I know when Jay, like, probably, I don't know, like, what was it, like a half hour after Jay sent in the money electronically for the FOIA, it was like 86 or $82, something like that. And they sent him some shit back. It was a interview of Wendy, and he's like,
That I've seen 1,000 times, and that I have no interest in.
This is it, man. Like, what the fuck? You said it. You know, so he inquires, and they're like, oh, you wanted the good stuff. And so Jay had to fork over more dough. So I'm sure it's gonna be phenomenal. I love that interview. I was late, but I replay crewed that interview. Did that couple ever did they ever testify at any of the trials?
They never have testified. And folks, I'm not sure if they're on the witness list, but if there was ever a trial that they would be the first one they do, it would be Donna Adelson, because they know the relationship. I mean, obviously, again, stuff that's hearsay they can't talk about, but they can talk about what they knew, right? They can talk about what they knew about the relationship between 100%. Wendy and Dan, and how, Wendy's parents hated that, Dan. And so I'm sure so I don't know if they're on the witness list. I haven't looked at it, but if ever there was a time, and what's interesting, Bob, there was one specific witness who they talk about. Her name is Tamara Demko, who she's part of actually Justice for Dan right now. The I don't know what the word is there. They have a foundation, and they raise money for Dan's memory. But anyway, she did a police interview, and it had been released out to, because I know someone else has posted it, but when they sent me the FOIA, this was not part of it. And I'm just curious because she's another witness that would be very important in Wendy's trial. Because she kind of was another person who was I don't know if they just missed it because they kind of screwed me in the first place, or is it because certain things they won't release, right, Bob? If it's still they feel that, but if they release, let me ask you this: if they release it in the past, would there be a reason for them not to release it again? Because I've seen it out there. Could it just be an error, a clerical error?
Yeah, I mean, it depends, man. Yeah, like I've had it happen where if they reopen investigation, it really depends on who gets the FOIA. Like the individual. Because they'll go talk to somebody, and then somebody will be like, just tell them it's an open investigation, deny it, because that's the number one thing that you get, that they're still. And look, I mean, with the Adelson case, I mean, we still got Harvey and Wendy out there, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So technically it is very much still an open investigation. But it just depends, man. The case I tried, I like Garcia when I was starting that season. I couldn't, for the life of me, I could not find the 911 call of Thomas Hunter's father, Bill, calling 911 when he discovered his son. And I did a FOIA for it, and I'm like, I'm like one of the attorneys on the case. They're like, denied. So then I had Darren, my producer. I'm like, well, we'll do the FOIA under your name this time. Maybe they hate us or whatever. So maybe they'll send it to you. Denied. So it's just, it's like every state's different too. It's like there's kind of the overall statute, and then every state has their own kind of rules in place in which ways they can sneak out of having to turn over the info. So yeah, no, that'll be
to your point. When they send me that, I call and they're like, no, it's just this one and one other. And then I'm like, I finally talked to a supervisor, and then all of a sudden, I didn't ask for a supervisor. I just said, can I talk to someone else or someone to put me online? And all of a sudden, after I talk to that point, I get 8 interviews. So you're right. It's up to the person. And the interesting about this, and I wonder if people want me to release it, I think I will. There are some interviews they did which did not, this is before they figured out, because for folks who don't know, this happened in 2014. They didn't charge anyone until 2000. First trial was 2019. I forget when the first arrest was, but they have these interesting interviews of people who, when they were trying to figure it out, and it turns out they're not involved. But I wonder if people there's this one woman who, for some reason, they searched it was like a realtor site. They were trying to see if anyone looked up his address, and I forget where they looked up the town. And there's this one woman who like did it, and she was like, I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. And she also worked by Dan. So it's like this whole like 45-minute interview from a person who was not at all involved, but she like he's grilling her. So it's just interesting because I've never seen them out there because people are probably like, who cares? Like this is not. But to me, it's
Yeah.
interesting just to see the police doing their interview
process.
and invest.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was like I used a lot of that in Garcia the second season because it's kind of the same thing, man. Like the thing went cold for 5 years. You know, they really left no stone unturned. They were talking to everybody. Any tips that came in, they would follow up with them, and they just like they weren't putting it together. And then so there was a lot of very similar type interviews where people are like like kind of fit, or they did something that the cops were thinking was a little bit suspicious, so they were following up on it, man. I mean, yeah, that's how they that's how they clear people. Like, I mean, to get cleared, you gotta, like, if you're on their radar, and they're coming to talk to you. I mean, they're coming to talk to you for a reason. Like, if you don't reach out to them and they reach out to you, that's how you know that they've got some kind of information they need to clarify with you in order to clear
Speaking
you.
of, for folks who don't know, so there's two hitmen, Tuto and Tato, who go to this like kind of seedy hotel, which is where they hang out. I don't remember. They went down twice, and one of the trips and one of the interviews, and I probably won't share this one because I feel really bad for this lady. It's this woman who, they eventually find the phone numbers of the hitmen. They run who they call, and they somehow get this woman who at the time I think was a lady of the night, if you will, or was working the hotel, and she's in like her work uniform, and she's clearly like, she's like, listen, this was something that, and it was just interesting. And they're like, well, we have that they called you at the time that they were there, and she's like, it definitely wasn't me, it was someone else, but it's like a whole hour, and they're grilling this girl. They're really trying to find out. Like, I don't think I'll probably release it because I just feel really bad for her. But just another thing where it's just leaked, right? They're doing whatever, especially in a case that's been, they're doing whatever they can to try to figure out who was involved. If there's a number that is, they know that this one number is from Tallahassee and they're in Miami, like they're gonna. And so it was interesting. Like I had never seen it. Like, obviously, I don't think anyone else has released it, so I had never seen that before.
Oh yeah, dude. Like with the first set of homicides in Garcia with Thomas Hunter, who was 11 at the time that he was killed. They went into his Xbox, and they went into he had like that, and they were reaching out to, because they were wondering if it was like a child predator. So like everybody that like he was in communications with, like from all over the country, anybody that he was having chats with, or and especially if they saw that it turned into like a phone call. So yeah, they were traveling to these states and bringing, so like a lot of them were kids.
Wow, imagine you're some kid who's like playing Fortnite with this kid and trash talking him, and they're like, "Oh, well, the police are coming to your house. We saw you called him a dick munch.
Right.
We need to talk. We need to talk."
Exactly. It was exactly like that. Yeah, it was like, but it's like you said, man. They're trying to develop leads, and if they're running into brick walls everywhere, I mean, they're gonna go everywhere they can to try to develop a case, and then because you never know where you're gonna get lucky and get a clue, find a hint, that's going to help you solve the case. So yeah, that'll be interesting, man. That'll be interesting. How long's that interview run?
Which one?
With Sigfredo?
No, it's 3. I'll just be reading the reports. It's not
you're reading the straight up police report?
Yeah. I wish I had the interviews with the inmates. I don't theoretically you would think they would be out there, but they did not give that to me.
We could do like Sigfredo, like shit faced on toilet wine. Oh, that would be, come on, dude. Spilling the tea. Yeah, that would.
And it's tea, folks. It is real. I don't want to give too. I don't want to, but it's like,
yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah, it's good. I think you guys will be. You'll find it interesting. When I read it, I was like, oh shit, this is.
You're like, oh shit.
But and then I was talking to Katie Bogenschutz, and she's like, listen, we get this type of stuff, but when I talked to, she was a former prosecutor. When I talk with the cops, I forget she's like, listen, there are things that we know There are things we can prove, and like there are things we can present the trial. So this information, like when the detective meets with this person, it might be like, oh, this is great, but you can't use it. It's shit. And you know what I mean? Like you can't
Right.
call this guy and he'd be like, oh, well, he had a conversation with Sigfredo and told me. Like you can't do that. So it's like it seems like great info, but unless you can get another somehow source to get it in there, it's worth nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Which is always the challenge. It's like that's like one of the biggest battles, like leading into trials is, you know, when you know that you're going to have hearsay issues pop up, like with shit that you have, but shit that you want to get in, and you're trying to figure out leading up to, like, half the battle with preparing for trial is figuring out how to get things in and or keep things out for both sides. It's like really what most of the war is about. You know, and it's like when it was the couple, like, you know, they reminded me of like one of those couples that you call and they're both on speakerphone. You know, you talk to the couple, like it doesn't matter who you're calling to speak to. You're speaking to both of them because you're on speaker and they're both there. Like I've got like a bunch of people like in my family that do that. Like it's always both of them. They reminded me of that kind of couple. They were very
that couple in
the yeah, the way that they interacted with one another and kind of finished each other's sentences and shit like that. And like, you know, the stuff that you like that is like fascinating to hear, but that's like speculation in their opinion is like, oh yeah, as soon as we heard of what happened to Danny, we knew they had something to do with it. You know what I mean? It's like powerful in the sense that, you know, these people know because they're, you know, they're in the inner circle, so to speak, at least maybe not the inner circle, but one of the inner circles. And, you know, so they have a better idea, you know, in terms of getting a vibe. You know, it's like, oh man, like as soon as I heard that shit went down, I was like, yeah, for sure. Like they were involved, you know, but that's obviously not going to be admissible at court because it's more prejudicial than it is probative just because there's no evidence behind it other than their gut feeling, which was of course right, you know, but like in terms of, you know, hindsight's 2020, but in terms of getting it in, but like you said, as far as like kind of giving background on relationships that's not necessarily statements, you know, that could definitely be helpful in Donna's case because like they're gonna have to, with her, it's going to be an interesting trial because it's going to be a very different trial than Charlie's because it's a very different type of case. That like they're, you know, they have a lot of consciousness of guilt evidence against her, obviously, but kind of like the front end stuff, you know, is going to be interesting because we had heard the testimony from Katie when she was talking about, you know, the money. Right. That Donna was really the money woman, that, you know, and there was all that testimony about whether or not Charlie actually had the cash in the safe or not, or whether it was really coming from Donna. And, you know, the whole washing of the money, which the Adelsons apparently took is you actually wash the money instead of cleaning it through, you know, like I'm going to go to the casino and get $100,000 of chips and then, you know, pretend to play blackjack for an hour and then get my cash back. You know, and get all different money back in. Like that's how you clean money. So, you know, with her, you've just got like a lot of circumstantial stuff. It's going to be a great trial. It's going to be really
another fascinating part about it for folks who don't know, someone who hasn't testified and I know is on the witness list. So if for folks who don't know, they have 3 kids, but you don't hear one because one of them got the fuck out of there. There's Charlie, Wendy, and Robert Adelson. If you guys don't know the story, Robert Adelson, you know, Donna was just as awful to him, and Donna wanted him to marry a Jewish woman, and he was with I forget if they got married or really quick and got divorced. I think that's what it was. He found the love of his life who was not Jewish, and she was fucking awful, and he ends up breaking up with her. He marries like a Jewish woman, and I forget how long they get divorced, and he's like, I can't do this. And he takes and he goes back to love his life. And they're in New York now. They moved because they're in Florida. They get the fuck out of there. But he has never testified in any of these trials. And again, if there was ever the trial that he's on the witness list, and I'm sure obviously that would be super tough for him to have to come testify against his mom. But if ever there was the trial, I mean, this Donna would be it, I would think. But
now they listed, that would be. I mean, I guess it depends on what he's going to bring to the table. You know what I mean? It's like, and whether or not he
Well, could he bring to
technically-
the table that his mom is like messes with people's, her kids' affairs, like what she did with Wendy, like she is all up in their business. Like, would that be something he could
I
testify
think it's
to?
relevant. You know, I mean, it's like it's a 402 evaluation, and like, is it relevant? And then you got to look, is it more prejudicial than it is probative in the sense that, you know, I mean, that it's kind of the heart of their case, though. You know, that she's the meddler. You know, that she's
Right.
the puppet master. That she's
Yep.
the one that's controlling shit behind it. You know, but it's like they've got to be careful with Donna if they have eyes on Wendy, you know, because you don't like, do you like, if you put all your eggs into the Donna's running shit basket, it hurts your case somewhat
point.
against Wendy, because it's like, well, who's who then? Like, you know, like, wait, you were just saying that Donna was running shit, but now you're saying Wendy was running shit, when I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. I think that they both could have been running shit. You know, maybe like there's a high likelihood that personality wise, Wendy is very much like her mother. You know, typically the apple does not fall far from the tree. So, you know, I mean, it could be one of those things where, you know, they're equally like running shit, or it's to the point where Wendy just had her mother, like, ironically wrapped around her finger, to where she has her mother doing her bidding for her. You know what I'm saying? Like, all under the guise of like, oh, we want to get the grandkids down here because we want to be able to see them all the time, you know, like that kind of shit. But yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. So Charlie's been subpoenaed, right? Is
Not
that
only yet, and there's a trend because he's in South Dakota because they moved him out of Florida because there was apparently some issues in his jail, but there's a transportation order to bring him down. So like that's just another. This trial is going to be fascinating. And additionally, they've gotten additional evidence against Donna. Like we've seen some of it, but we don't know how the state's going to use it. And we saw new stuff in Charlie's house, so it's really going to be interesting. And probably one of the biggest bummers about where, you know, when I was thinking about like if I'm going to get a job is I probably you know, it will not be. I always wanted to live stream, and it's just probably not going to be the case. But what I'll probably do
let's not.
if it is the case,
relax.
what I'll probably do is just hopefully folks will watch with me, like if I do like a, you know, some sort of a rewatch at the night, you know, afterwards, because I'm not going to cover it.
For sure, you got it. Like, dude, like you're definitely covering it in some capacity, and you know, I mean, like, we'll figure it out, man. Like, hopefully, maybe you get like a part-time gig. Like maybe there's a part-time gig.
The issue with part-time gigs is, you know, usually not benefits. I'm really trying to get some benefits.
The doctor bills kind of like especially if the temporary, what do they call that? Like the temporary insurance.
Cobra runs out in September.
Oh man, yeah, like that's the thing. Like the benefits they drive it, you know, like the benefits are almost more important than the salary.
Yeah,
You know,
that's so important. And this is America, man. Like that's, by the way, I think if you check, I think it might be loud. Check your
let me see. Let me see, you might be right. Yep, you're right. All right.
So I'm gonna eat something and
get ready. Dude, I love you. Thanks for hanging. Everybody, make sure you're subbing to Jay. Make sure you're going over there at 8 Eastern. Hopefully this will line up right away.
That's what I planned.
You might have like a half hour to get some grub in, and then settle in and watch J-Bo go through some police reports.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob.
Furious Sigfredo. All right, brother.
All right. Later.
All right. Bye.
Section, correct?
All right.
Yes, sir.
See, let me pause it. I'm going to bloop, 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 bloop. Okay. All right. Pull it back up. Yeah. Does you got to teach me how, like, when I just pull it off screen, how to put it back up there without, all right. You guys ready? Let's go.
Okay.
Thank you, Afton.
that refresh your recollection?
Appreciate you.
Yes.
You received this email. You said obviously you work long hours when you're involved in a homicide investigation, especially close in time to when the homicide is alleged to have occurred.
For sure.
Testimony. Appears that Detective Jappy was working long hours as well, correct?
Yes.
He sent you this email at 12:44 a.m.
Mhm.
And again, he belongs to the criminal intelligence section, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this email concerns the surveillance log from today/yesterday, correct?
Yes, sir.
He then makes reference to call me tomorrow when you have a moment. We can figure out a way to get those videos to you, correct? And those are the surveillance videos.
Yeah. I'm not
Or was
sure
it
which
another
videos.
matter that he was going to send to you? Do you recall?
No, I don't recall him sending me videos. That's why I wasn't sure which ones he was talking about, but
But just so it's clear, I mean, you're communicating with him at 12:44 a.m.
well, he sent me an email, but I'm not sure if I read that or if I responded back or that shows that that's what time he sent it. True.
Fair enough. And then we're continuing on with the events concerning the stop of Mr. Tellis and your interactions with him
Yes,
and
sir.
Detective Jappy. Obviously, you informed Mr. Tellis that he's not arrested, but he's not free to go.
When I first approached him, yes.
I'm referring to this third transcribed statement,
Okay.
and you're telling him he's not free to go.
True.
And I'm referring, counsel, to page 20 of the third recording. You tell him that he can't make calls.
Correct.
There's questioning going on between Mr. Jappy and Mr. Tellis in your presence.
Some in my presence and some without. Yes. I know they're talking.
Correct.
I wouldn't say it was fully questioning, but there was communication. Yes.
You inform Mr. Tellis that press is breaking and that the media is at his house. I mean, I'd asked you a question, but it's in this transcript, page 28 of this third 49-page transcript. Fair to say?
Okay.
There's discussions with him concerning the great amount of stress that he must be under, correct?
They're if it's in the transcript, I agree with you.
And I will not
Yes.
mislead you. So
Yes.
if I say it's in the transcript,
Yes.
and I'm referring to page 28 of the recorded transcript. In fact, it's told, I don't think any of us could ever comprehend the amount of stress that you've been going through.
Did I say that?
Detective Jappy did.
Okay, I don't recall saying that.
Effect on the listener, but
Sustained.
there's discussion concerning the cameras at his home, Mr. Tellis's home,
Correct.
and he's cooperative, gives you a password to those, says they were recently installed.
I remember they were recently installed. Yes.
There is a concern for his family and his family's safety, and that's why.
Objection, hearsay.
I'm not saying what he said, it puts her statements into context.
Are you gonna ask her what she said to him?
Yes.
Okay.
You said, I don't know about the gunshot in the neighborhood, it was a couple days. That was your statement. Page 31.
I don't know what gunshot would be referencing though.
Okay. If I may approach the witness, I mean, in front of page 31.
Okay, I see that in the transcript.
Yes. And that was in reference to the security cameras that have been recently installed at his house.
Yes, that's what we were asking about at that time.
And then you asked him about the shoes at the residence that have been recovered, correct?
Sure, yes.
You know, there's a number of questions concerning the shoes. We've had multiple photos, exhibits. Do you ever size those shoes?
No, I personally have never come into contact with those shoes. They were recovered at his house. I was never there. So that would
Okay.
be with the CSAs, they do look at the size on the tag and notate that.
Okay, and we've, you know, there's been a great deal, and I mean, you were the lead detective in this case. There's been a great deal of issues made or arguments made, presentations made concerning those shoes. You have no recollection of what the size of those shoes are, do you?
No, I've never seen those shoes in person.
And I'm going to direct your attention to page 33 of your statement. You're talking about how his family must be suffering through the stress of all of this.
Okay,
How he should make it easy on his family, correct?
yes,
Yes. And
They don't deserve to struggle with this, correct?
yes,
You know, there comes a time where one way or another, other things have to be answered. And I'm just going to refer to your statement specifically. You made that statement, correct? You tell him you're going to have to own up to what happened,
yes,
if not for anybody other than your family.
yes,
You talk about his family being collateral damage, correct?
if it's in there, I believe you, yes,
You talk about how hard it's going to be on them, correct?
yes.
and but sounds like she's a pretty compassionate cop to me. I mean, obviously she's trying to get him to, you know, feel it in the fields, but
You talk about this vehicle that's in the video being identical to his, at least in your opinion, correct?
Correct.
identical. It's the movie. Identical.
You make reference to a sunroof.
Okay,
I'm sorry, actually, Detective Jappy does. I mean, you were present for
Okay.
this interview.
Swing and the miss.
Page 38, there's a discussion about the security cameras being recently delivered to his home, Mr. Tellis's home.
okay,
Do you recall what time it was that you ultimately returned Mr. Tellis to what
his
he was
house.
doing prior to being detained?
I know the sun was still out. I have not checked the CAD. If I saw the CAD, I could tell you exactly when it was. But I know it was still daylight out. I want to say maybe 3:30 or 4:30 in the afternoon, somewhere in that time.
Okay, and he'd been in your custody since a little after 7.
Correct.
And he was stopped prior to your arrival, correct?
Yes.
Indeed. Indeed.
I may approach the witness. I'm going to go through with you what's been marked as defense exhibits B through V.
Okay.
If you could please just
Mhm.
run through those.
They are the images of Mr. Tejas at the area command that were taken by the CSA.
See, she calls him Tails.
Yes.
Do these photos accurately depict the photos of, and we've heard tell us on September 7th.
I've gone with Mr. Tejas, so yeah, they do.
Move for the admission.
No objection, Your Honor. They're needed.
I may publish these.
I think it was actually one of the end of our interview where we spoke about the pronunciation.
Huh,
So.
see? Thorough.
All right, this is defense exhibit B. Just orientate ourselves, that's Mr. Tell is correct on this morning, or this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
And obviously, the significance of these photos is they wanted to document any injuries to his body.
Correct.
There have been photos marked and admitted concerning a cut on his right hand. He gave you an explanation.
Is that what we're calling that? A cut?
Yes.
This is it was his left hand that had the injury. This is his right hand, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it's not clear.
Yes, I say it's really
something wrong.
blurry.
I always am when it comes to this. Let's see. There we go. And he is right-handed, correct?
I'm not sure. I don't think we asked him that in the interview.
That's my next point. You didn't ask him. I told you these right-handed would get injuries.
Objection, hearsay?
Right hand, there's no injuries, correct?
There are none visible in that picture, correct?
Yeah, that would have been the hand he had the knife in. That's why he would have had that injury on his
Defense
left.
Exhibit C. This is Defense Exhibit D. This is torso, right?
Yes, sir.
You'd agree with me that there's no injuries that you see on this exhibit?
No.
Defense Exhibit E. This is his right side, same question.
Yes, sir. There's
Look at him
nothing
stuffed in
visible
his
there.
gut. Look at this guy. Yo, so
Defense
vain.
Exhibit F, this would be his back, correct?
Correct.
Neck, head. Again, no visible injuries.
Correct.
Let's see that hamburger middle finger on his left hand, though.
Defense Exhibit G, other side,
Yes, sir.
no injuries present.
Not where that you can see there, correct?
He has a horrific farmer stand, though.
We'll close up Defense Exhibit H of his right side.
And that's the same. As you can see in what's depicted, there are no injuries present there.
Where?
Of the portion of his body that you're looking at there, you're correct. There are no injuries present in that photograph.
Okay.
That is correct.
Defense Exhibit I, close up of his shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It looks like maybe a little red dot there, but I couldn't speculate what that is.
We heard testimony from crime scene analysts that she felt that there was a bruise to his right shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with me? Really?
No, that's what I'm saying. I see redness there, but I can't.
Fair enough.
I don't know. There was 5 days between when Gurman was murdered to the time that Rob Tejas was taken into custody. So I don't want to.
And you'd agree with me that bruises generally develop through time. They're not instantaneous. You'd expect there to be bruises if there was an injury 5 days after an injury occurred. Fair to say?
No. And I'm not a medical expert. I can't testify to that.
Defense Exhibit J. You agree with me? We don't see any injuries there.
It's reddening, you can see, but I can't say that there's a specific injury there.
What clothes was he wearing and ultimately were taken off prior to this photo was being taken?
I know he had jeans on. I think it was I want to say it was a white t-shirt. I could be mistaken on that.
You don't see any scratch marks or anything of that nature, correct?
Not in that photo, no.
Defense Exhibit K. This would be the left side.
Correct.
No injuries, correct?
Correct.
Defense Exhibit L. Same question. Back of his neck.
Yes, there's no apparent injuries.
And this gives it a little red tint. It may be the function, but this will go back with the jury. But looking at it, you don't see any redness when you look at it, do you?
No, not it's like tanning, I guess, right there in that photograph, that specific one.
Turning your attention to Defense Exhibit M. And we have a shadow, but we don't have any injuries, do we?
None that I'm aware of, no.
Turning your attention to Defense Exhibit N. Now we're looking at his lower body. We see his abdomen. No injuries present in that photo, correct?
Not that I can see there, no.
Defense Exhibit O.
No injuries that I can see there.
Defense Exhibit B, I'm sorry, P.
And no injuries that I can see there. I think there might be like, I know the left ring finger is damaged, so I can't tell if that's visible on his left side, but on the back of his legs, no.
Not gonna lie, I fully anticipated
Defense
this guy would be
Exhibit
wearing some
Q.
bikini type underwear. It's like,
There's nothing visible that I can see.
Defense Exhibit R, put it this way. Again,
Nothing visible that I see.
and it may seem like a funny question, but his feet weren't measured for size, to your knowledge, correct?
No.
Defense Exhibit S. Same question, no injuries.
None apparent that I see.
Defense Exhibit T.
None, no apparent injuries that I see.
Defense Exhibit U.
I'd really have to look at it on a computer. That may be pinkish around the ankle, but nothing really apparent or anything, that's substantial, correct?
Fair enough. If I may approach the witness with it. Thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't look pinkish in that photo.
And say that gives you these pictures of pink hue, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Now, when you came into contact with Mr. Tellis after having been stopped, he was wearing jeans and a t-shirt, correct?
Yes.
I'm showing you it's Defense Exhibit V. He's no longer wearing the jeans or the t-shirt, is he?
Correct. We took his clothing.
Took his clothing.
Yes, we did.
We had a crime scene analyst here last week, and Defense Exhibit A. Yes. I guess not a problem.
Yeah, please.
hey, yeah,
Now, in reference to this search warrant that you got at 2 a.m. on September 7th, part of that search warrant included not only the Denali, contents of the Denali, but it was also the clothing that may have been tied to this condition of this crime, correct?
Correct.
And you took these jeans from Mr. Tellis, believing that this may have somehow been involved with the crime, correct?
We took those, they were dark pants, and we were looking at all dark pants. And without really taking them off as a person and inspecting them, I wasn't going to be certain if they were or were not going to be
Okay.
pants possibly worn.
Were these pants ever processed?
Not to
your
my
knowledge?
knowledge. No.
I still
I
have
know
the
the
belt
crime scene
on.
analyst, when they impound them, they will visually look at the item to see if there's apparent blood, things like that, and none was noted.
Okay. So his pants were taken from him and he was given that jumpsuit that.
Yes.
I can read back it.
Thank you.
He conveniently skipped the picture with the injury to the finger. Huh. Huh.
And this jumpsuit was what he was sent home in, correct?
Yes, sir.
Was his white shirt taken as well?
I'd have to look at the report. I can't remember that off the top of my head.
Okay, I don't
You
have a
don't need
record
to
of it, but I
because who
was trying to
cares?
recall.
Yeah, I did.
There were other people interviewed in reference to
He
the
was arrested
gate.
5 days after the
Mr.
crime.
Thomas, correct?
Yes, sir.
We heard from a couple of witnesses last week. Do you remember interviewing a Zach Schilling?
Yes.
You interviewed him on the 26th of September.
Sounds about right.
Have you reviewed this recorded statement in preparation for your testimony?
No, I haven't.
I just have a couple quick questions, but would you like, we'll go question by question. I'll have many. If you need to see it, please tell me.
Okay.
Okay. When you interviewed him, he was not alone, correct?
Correct.
Who else was present?
There was a female, I think it was a business associate or something to that effect.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't remember her name.
Miss Riffle?
Yes. I
Okay.
don't remember the first name though either.
If I told you that Miss Riffle testified last week, following Mr. Schilling, would you have any reason to disagree with me?
No.
Fair to say, and I won't get into the substance, but there'd been some bad blood between Mr. Schilling and Mr. Tellis, based upon the sum and substance of your interview, correct?
Again, I haven't reviewed it in a long time. I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything notable, I guess, about that. I knew that they knew each other. I recall that from the interview. But I don't remember anything specific about, I think, I don't know if you said bad. I don't know. Yeah.
Why don't, I'm going to approach with the court's permission to perhaps refresh the sum and
Okay.
substance of this conversation. Please take your time. Absolutely. Specifically page 8. I wonder if you can get substance of it. And this is a fairly lengthy interview. It was 99 pages long.
Okay.
Please repeat that.
Was it page 8? Is that what you said?
That was just something that I want to address, but I just want you to flip through that to remember, to refresh your recollection.
That's a long interview. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will put it this way. Fair to say that Mr. Schilling didn't like Mr. Tellis very much.
I just remember that they knew each other from business. I don't remember the context of it.
Contacts the public administrator's office,
No, yes,
getting paid.
yes, but I mean his personal feelings. I don't remember much of those.
Why don't you look at page 8?
Okay. Okay.
And just so we're clear, this interview occurred in front of Ms. Riffle, correct?
Yes, she was present.
And during this interview, Mr. Schilling referred to Mr. Tellis as an asshole, right?
Yes, yes, he did.
I may approach the witness. He claimed to recognize Mr. Tellis's gait in the videos that have been released on Monday, September 5th, correct?
I vaguely remember that. Yes.
In reference to your officer's report, you lay out what issues, what items were found through the course of the search of Mr. Tellis's house, correct?
You're talking about the location and who recovered it and stuff?
Yes.
Yes, that's documented.
And in reference to these shoes, according to your report, it was Detective Gilbert that
Yes, he
Found.
was present. And remember, I was not.
You were not?
Yes,
Okay.
so this is from the scribe that had provided the information to me. That's how it gets into my report.
Understood, but obviously you want to be as correct and as
Oh, absolutely.
thorough as
Absolutely.
possible.
Yes.
John Martinez was just really discounted. He didn't even have any information to get concerning. You remember him? He was a construction worker.
Yeah. And
Couldn't
Detective Milligan
Couldn't remember
went to go
anything.
found him. Okay.
And in reference to the installation or the reason for the installation of these cameras, it was consistent concerning other people that you'd interviewed, the reason for the installation of the cameras.
Gonna call for hearsay, sustained.
You had testified that Detective Chappie had helped you in this case, correct? I think that was your testimony when we began this cross. Do you recall that?
If that's the word that was used. Okay. I know Detective Jaffe. Yes, he assisted. Correct.
And following the results concerning the DNA, Detective Jaffe reached out to Mr. Tellis to say that you're going to be arrested or detained, correct? And that was after he'd been dropped off at home in his jumpsuit.
I was not present for that.
You were shown a number of articles, and we watched some videos together before the break concerning the events of the public administrator's office. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
You remember that video that we watched with Mr. Jaffe and I'm sorry, Mr. Tellis in a garage? There's a
With the
video
vehicle.
getting out of the vehicle, correct?
Yes, sir.
Based upon your understanding, we had somebody sleuthing. I mean, we had somebody following Mr. Tellis, correct?
Objection.
Based upon her,
Calls for speculation.
Based on her knowledge?
based on your knowledge, I mean. we
I
watched-
had nothing to do with any of that part of Mr. Tejas at the PA's office or the writings that Jeff Gurman did about him.
Fair enough. But in that video that we watched together, we saw them we saw Mr. Tellis getting out of the vehicle, and it looked like it was in some parking lot, correct?
That is correct. That's what I saw.
It wasn't in an office. You were part of the search of the public administrator's office on September 8th?
Yes.
Yes. That did not appear to be related or in that parking lot or at the public administrator's office.
That's correct. It does not appear.
So when I ask you, it appears that somebody's sleuthing. Obviously, someone is involved concerning Mr. Tellis, and it's outside of the public administrator's office. Fair to say, where that video was captured? Maybe that's a bad question. Obviously, we have something going on. There's a capture that we all watched before the break, and it's Mr. Tellis getting
Yes.
out of his vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And based upon that article, somebody obtained that video of Mr. Tellis, correct? I'm not saying it's Metro, but based upon our view of that, somebody captured that. Somebody was sleuthing.
Somebody did, yes.
And that was in reference to events going on in the public administrator's
Somebody
office.
captured the video,
Correct.
correct, pertaining
Yeah.
to the public administrator's office.
So
Yes.
somebody must be conducting surveillance. Somebody must be following Mr. Tellis.
I have no knowledge of that.
In reference to what you had characterized as surveillance, the spot off of the Popeyes, that parking lot,
Yes.
mile and a half away from Mr. Tellis, or from
I think it
Mr. Garriman's home, correct?
Correct.
Mile and a half. We have multiple photos. You opined that or you gave an opinion that this was surveillance or something, correct?
That's what it appeared to be from the time frame that those images were taken. I think it was about a 2+ hour block of time, and with the amount of them, that's what it appears to be.
Okay, but again, too, We don't even know if that has anything to do with anything, do we? It's just something that was found on the phone or perhaps was part of a cloud, correct? In reference to
That was
Mr.
found on the phone, yes.
Yes. You don't know of any, I mean, you gave the opinion that this was surveillance, but we don't know, do we?
That's my opinion.
So you do have an opinion concerning surveillance, at least sometimes.
When I conduct the surveillance, yes.
Okay. But in this case, we had several photographs taken of vehicles, correct?
You're talking about from the Popeyes?
Yes.
Oh, I think it was hundreds. Yes,
150, something like that.
there was a lot.
None of those cars were of significance in this case, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Oh, actually, I'd move to admit defense exhibit W.
Is there any objection?
Yes.
No objection, Your Honor.
That is a given.
I'd move to admit, I believe by stipulation. Thank you.
Yes. So Detective Gaddis, those audio recordings associated with Mr. Gehrman's phone, I'd like to talk about those first.
Yes, ma'am.
With both of those, was there an attempt made to see if there was a phone number that you could associate with the voicemail?
Yeah, I tried to identify who the caller was, but there was no phone number connecting at the same time that would lead me down that path.
So there was no data you could go further on to determine like whose phone number it might have been?
That's correct.
And it sometimes happens like that. There's just a data file and there's no further information to follow up on.
Yes.
When Detective Jaffe brings Mr. Tellis to your attention on 9/4, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then he's with you on 9/7 on the date of the buckle swab and search warrant.
That's correct.
After 9/7, is Detective Jaffe involved in the homicide investigation?
No.
And is the rest of the investigation from 9/7 on done by yourself and other members of homicide?
That's correct.
After 9/7, is homicide conferring with Detective Jaffe, like, hey, this is the next warrant we're going to do.
No.
This is the next thing we're going to do.
Not
Is
at
this
all.
okay with you?
No, not at all.
I mean, that wouldn't happen because Detective Jaffe is in a whole different section
Correct.
and you're the one responsible for this investigation?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about that, the body cam from the traffic stop.
Yep.
Can you explain to the members of the jury, please, what an event number is?
So every time an officer goes to stop somebody like on a traffic stop, they call it out on the radio and that generates an event number in our CAD system.
Okay.
So there's different event numbers for different things, but typically if a patrol officer was going to stop a car, that's the first step he's going to take is to call it on the radio.
Now, the event number for the murder drew an event number from 9/3, correct?
Yes, it did.
In order for reports and photographs and all interviews and any audio associated with the murder, is it tagged with that murder event number?
Typically, yes.
Okay. So when Mr. Tellis was stopped on 9/7, was that under the same event number as the murder?
No. So the event numbers, especially if it is a murder event number, basically that event number is only open for as long as there's officers that are physically assigned to an area. Once everybody clears or logs off for the day, that event number closes. We still reference that for all the crime scene reports, for all the video collection. That's the main event number that everything goes under, but it's closed. So now on a subsequent day, if we're going to go stop a car or do a search warrant, a different event number gets populated.
Now, can patrol or traffic officers tag or mark certain body cam to not be deleted in the normal course of storage if it's associated with a murder or if it needs to be retained?
Yes, so basically there's many different levels of retention. If it is something as basic as a person stop that you just talk to somebody and then let them walk away, I think it only retains for 90 days maybe. I think a traffic ticket might retain for a year, or each each thing you do has a different retention level. Or I think it's traffic stop is just a year, and then a ticket might be a couple years or something like that. And that is automated in the system. So when you create that event, a vehicle stop is called the 467. So when you create the 467, your body cam that's linked to CAD knows that that's a vehicle stop. So unless you change it, it doesn't, it stays as a vehicle stop with the retention of
less?
1 year, less than 1 year. Yes.
Okay. And so, I mean, you were aware before you came in and testified today that this portion of body cam from the traffic stop was missing in this case?
Yes.
And from your investigation and attempts to locate the body cam, is it a matter of a patrol officer not marking it for retention? Or
What do you mean?
not designating that his body cam or?
Yeah, it should have been tagged indefinitely. Anything that has to do with the murder, we tag indefinitely. That's one of the last options that there are. It should have been retagged.
Now, do you, as a detective, have the ability to delete body cam on
No.
a Metro system?
No, not at all.
And do you get to control the retention policy?
No, it's an automated thing that the vendor has worked out with our police department of how long it's going to retain for.
Okay. And after it was discovered that this body cam from the patrol stop on the 7th had been deleted, are you aware of attempts within the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department to recover it anyway?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I personally spoke to a sergeant in the body cam section. More phone calls kept being made until I want to say like our undersheriff was involved, and he was calling one of the top people in the company that our vendor that stores our body cameras, trying to see if they can pull that back, if they can recover it.
So it went all the way up to kind of right under Sheriff McMahill to attempt to recover this one portion of body cam in this entire case from September the 7th?
Yes.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor? Detective Gaddis, I'm showing you what's been marked as stage proposed 371. Do you recognize what that document is?
Yes, it's the audit trail for the body camera.
Okay. And is it a record kept that tells you basically when body cam was downloaded and when it was deleted by the system, and then an audit trail being sort of looking at when the body cam was downloaded or deleted?
Yes.
Statements to admit 371.
No objection.
I'd like to publish. This will be page 2. And sort of right in the middle of the page here, it says 9/7/23 system queued for deletion.
Correct.
And above that, it has different entries where it has officers' names and badge numbers, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So on 9/7, the system, meaning the computer or the I guess the storage mechanism queued this item for deletion. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then after that, there's a bunch of people logging on to try to figure out the audit trail on it. Is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
Fair to say you had nothing to do with this portion of deleted body cam?
No.
And then also, I think we talked about this on direct examination, regardless of what that portion of body cam was, where Mr. Tellis dealt with the patrol officer, that patrol officer and all of the patrol officers involved in the traffic stop are known, they're in reports.
Yes, and they're on CAD.
And you recorded your conversations with Mr. Tellis from the time you got there until basically he's dropped off back at his house.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Yes, thank you. turn your attention to, and it's in States Exhibit 371. Unrepublished.
Yes, absolutely.
We're looking May 2023 here.
Yes.
Evidence record access. See that?
Yes, I see that.
So obviously we have someone accessing this information, fair to say.
That's what the log says. I don't know this P.O. Osborne,
Okay,
so I couldn't say what that entry specifically is about.
but we have it being evidence record accessed prior to its being destroyed, correct?
Several months prior, yes.
But nonetheless, it was erased, destroyed, whatever verb you want to use. It's gone, correct?
I like overwritten.
Overwritten.
That's kind of how, when we try to pull video cameras from houses.
All right, but obviously this isn't some civilian's house. This is the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, correct?
Yes, sir.
This involves a stop of a murder suspect in preparation for the execution of a warrant, correct?
That's correct.
There's multiple requests made by the defendant, a court order issued on July 18th, 2023, but nonetheless, it goes away, correct? Whether we want to say destroyed or overwritten, it goes away.
The video is not available at this time, correct?
Yes. And finally, you were asked by the state concerning Detective Jappy's involvement. You said after September 7th, he was not involved.
Not to my recollection. He didn't write any search warrants. He didn't do any further surveillances.
I told you today that we heard from a crime scene analyst, Baxter, and she testified on September 8th. Detective Jappy was present and that he was taking photographs and taking his own evidence.
So 2 parts. Yes, he was present at the PA's office. I forgot about that. I don't recall him taking his own evidence. So that would be, I can't testify to that. But yes,
Okay.
he was at the PA's office on September 8th.
And obviously it's a crime scene analyst's job to collect evidence, correct?
Yes,
It's their job, but to be sensitive to that subject matter, fair to say?
yes.
And if we had a crime scene analyst state that he was there taking photographs and taking evidence on his own, do you have any reason to disagree with her?
I can't talk about that. I can't, how do I say it? I didn't see Jappy taking evidence on his own.
Thank you.
So I can't, I'm not going to disagree with the CSA, of course, but I can't say that I saw that myself.
Okay, so there's things that can occur that you don't see or that you don't know of, correct?
Yes, that is unbeknownst to me.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
You're welcome.
Just briefly, are you aware of whether or not Detective Jappy was conducting his own investigation, actually 2 separate investigations around the same time period?
Yes,
And did the investigations involve the public administrator's office, and one of them, Mr. Tellis, was a target?
yes, ma'am.
So he could have been at the public administrator's office doing his own investigation, is that fair?
Yes,
And he wasn't really working with you guys, I assume, on the 8th when you're at the PA's office, he was doing his own work?
I recall him being there at the PA's office, but no, when I was gathering evidence like computers and such, I don't remember him being like right there or.
And he could have been doing investigation concerning
His investigation.
his
Yes.
2 separate investigations that involved Mr. Tellis.
Correct.
Thank you.
Just briefly, so fair to say you didn't know what basically what Detective Jappy was doing because you weren't with him all the time, correct? Regardless of crime scenes, things like that, he could be doing his own thing, fair to say?
Yes.
No further questions.
Nothing else, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony here today. You may step down and you're excused from your subpoena. Thank you for being here. Does the state have any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor, we do have one exhibit that I believe we're going to have a stipulation to. The defense just wants to review it, but subject to just checking the evidence. This is our final witness and we rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Detective.
Okay, can I just have the attorneys approach for a moment?
Yes.
All right, so there we go. State is done. What do you guys think? What do you think? I think they had a pretty strong case, all circumstantial, obviously, but powerful circumstantial case. I mean, look, the state obviously has the burden. Let's see. Have I ever had a trial where the prosecutor showed up 30 minutes late? I mean, I've had prosecutors like run into, it's very rare. Like typically their office is in the building, so it's more common for us to be late if we get stuck in traffic, or if it's a faraway county and it's a long drive and there's weather or something. Oh, the prosecutor was half hour late. How did the judge take it over there? Yeah, I don't know. So as far as this case goes, strong circumstantial case.
At this time, and the state and the defense are going to stipulate to exhibit 368 to 370.
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct. It's my understanding the state is correct.
That's correct, subject to that one last exhibit.
Okay, so at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to conclude for the day. We're going to start tomorrow morning at 10:30. During this recess, you're admonished not to discuss or communicate with anyone, including your fellow jurors, in any way regarding the case or its merits, either by voice, call, email, text, internet, or other means of communication or social media. Read, watch, or listen to any news or media accounts or commentary about the case. Do any research, consult dictionaries, internet, or reference materials. Do any investigation, test a theory, recreate any aspect of the case, or in any other way investigate or learn about the case on your own, or form or express any opinion regarding the case till it's finally submitted to you. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. 10:30.
Thank you. All right, thank you very please.
Oh, well, there you go. If they're doing the motion, we're not going to see it, apparently. I'll keep it up over here just in case I come back. So there it is. State's case in chief. Took day 4 days, get their case in chief in. I anticipate that the defense will obviously be making their motion for directed finding or direct verdict. That will be denied, at which point, the other thing that we'll have that will take place at some point is the judge will end up, basically giving a colloquy to the defendant, admonishing them. Well, I almost slipped into a 48 hours about the poisonous wife. But the judge will advise the defendant, tell us about his right to testify on his own behalf and the potential pitfalls that come along with that. So tomorrow could be the day. I just don't know how many witnesses the defense could possibly have to call. I mean, his trial lawyer said that he's definitely testifying. So I'm anticipating that'll be tomorrow. So that's it. Did you guys catch what time she's starting? I didn't catch it. So Dizzy, if you're still in here, let me know. Somebody let me know what time she said they're coming back. I'll set up the stream for tomorrow morning. You guys are all going to be portaled over to Jay, 10:30 Pacific. Thank you very much, Nitty Gritty and Dizzy. I will set it up for tomorrow, probably 10 minutes early. I'll try to get through the end of the murder jury instructions because they're kind of interesting. And I think that's it. Make sure you guys set your notifications for tomorrow. Documentarian Margaret Burden's going to join Bill and I 9 p.m. Central Standard Time or Daylight Savings Time. I think it's going to be an amazing live. She's been doing this documentary for over a decade. So, and she is like dug into this case and just all the misdeeds and horrible things that Reynaldo Guevara has done for from all through the 90s and the 2000s. So make sure you guys check out Jay tonight. Please, 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 if you haven't, like it on the way you out. Please subscribe. Please share. And if you really like the content, think about becoming a member. We love our members. We consider them family. They are family. Aw, family hugs. All right, you guys are the best mods. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Best chat in the land, per usual. You never disappoint. You're the best one out there. Anytime somebody comes in brand new, they're like, wow, this chat really is the best chat in the land. I'm like, I'm not trying to come with some bullshit. You guys are the best. We love you. See you tomorrow. See you in Jay's, actually in about an hour. All right. See you guys. Love you. Oh, wait. I'm going to play my outro.